Welcome to the Legendary Upside podcast and YouTube channel. My name is Pat Kerrane. You can follow all of my content at legendaryupside.com. With me today, Rich Hribar for our Angles and Upside podcast. Reeves, how's it going?
It's going good. I don't check any of my best ball teams, so I have no idea how I was impacted by Kyle Pitts last night or wasn't. But
You don't check
so,
them all at even now?
no, I never do. Well, I didn't really do any underdogs this year. I did mostly DraftKings, so
Okay.
isn't it like a pain to
It
check
actually is
DraftKings?
like kind of harder to check. There's no BBMDB for that.
Right, yeah. So like I did check, but no, I like just not knowing because like JJ texted in a thread I'm in. You don't have to put this out there, JJ. I'm sorry. But with Davis and Thorman, and he's like, I went up against Kyle Pitts in this many pods, and I'm like, dude, it's 7:30 in the morning. I can't be like worried about like how Kyle Pitts like impacted me, like getting my kid to school. This is like, and I already have so many other sweats to deal with. Like I just can't add this to my portfolio. So I just like unwrapping it. The year you actually won Best Ball Mania, I had a team in the finals and didn't know. Like I had like a few $1,000 just in my thing when I went into it. I was like, oh cool. Like yeah. Like, yeah, cool. So it's because you can't do anything about it. I just can't.
You
I have
can.
enough
It's
stress.
true. That's true. But I mean, generally we like to sweat. I mean, you
Yeah,
sweat
I
your
know.
fantasy football matchups, it's a similar thing.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah, I haven't gone through and checked the Pitt stuff. I mean, I'm hoping I'm not in a bunch of pods with Pitts, but we'll see. And I don't tend to sweat. I basically this week I think about the players I have a lot of. Like I'm rooting for Harold Fannin. I've got a
right.
bunch of Harold Fannin, right? So I'm rooting for Drake May. And it's like if the players I drafted a bunch of and advanced a decent amount of
Yeah.
get have good games, then I should probably be okay. And then hopefully those Kyle Pitts, I'm going against Pitts somewhere, I assume, and hopefully that
Correct.
team that I have in that pod stinks, right? So I just hope that's one of my bad teams, which you're going to have a bunch of. So once it gets to
Pitts
the
is going to have a
semis,
huge advance rate,
yeah.
but there's still teams that probably have them like Penix and
Oh, I have one of those teams. I have two Kyle Pitts teams. One has Penix and Daniel Jones on it, and so it's down to Brock Purdy. Luckily, it's a 3 quarterback
oh,
team, so
okay.
it has Purdy. But you're like, if I could pick a team to get to the final, it wouldn't be one with Penix and Daniel Jones on it, So it was one out at quarterback. But yeah, I've got a couple Pitts Bijan teams. One is pretty good, but we'll see. It's funny because a bunch more players are going to score a ton of points too. So Pitts is not necessary. We hope. We hope.
Do we hope Kyle
well,
Pitts isn't the only wagon of the week?
Yeah. Should we just make Pitts the wagon of the week?
Yeah, he technically probably is, but
there's no point in.
As someone that was super into Drake London, though, it was a bummer to see because like he's basically just absorbed that role in the offense, which is what's going to be real fun about his free agency period. Because
dude, I was about to bring that up. He's going to make a lot of money. Because you look at the free agency class and people are talking about like, oh, Alec Pierce is going to make, which he will, and he's had a really good year. But I mean, depending on the type of team you are and what your needs are, I mean, Pitts, if you need a guy who can like catch the ball over the middle of the field versus a guy who can stretch the defense and catch deep balls, I don't know. Like I'm like, am I back in on Kyle Pitts?
I think it depends where he goes because he's still like he's the type of player like if I was a GM I wouldn't give the bag to just because he can't block. And like we've seen like now you want your tight end to kind of be able to
he can
play
block
both roles,
right? Is he that bad?
I don't even know what it is, but he's not good at it. I don't think
he's not great, but in 12 personnel, where all these teams are moved, like what if the Rams brought him in?
Well, it's to me interesting. So he just like replaces Travis Kelce. Like here, people will be like, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah. I've thought about him with the Patriots too, where they need more talent and they play a decent amount of 12 or at least a little. So, anyway.
But the Falcons shouldn't bring him back because they have Drake. Like they already have Drake London, and I know he hasn't played now, but like Drake London, it took Drake London like opening these routes up for him because like Drake London would just be doing all that stuff.
Right. Well, does he? I mean, when they didn't pick up the 5th-year option, right? Or is this his 5th-year option?
This is
his
it.
5th-year option. Okay.
This is it.
Okay.
Because
His blocking,
we thought they were going to trade him in the offseason.
his run blocking grade is bad.
Yeah,
So
he's not a good run blocker.
Yeah. All right. Well, at least we got this. I'm in a dynasty league that's standard scoring, 0 PPR, and which is kind of strange for dynasty. That's not, but this dynasty league's like we started in I think 2011, so it's been going for a while, and my team is not that good. But I made not the finals. I made the semis, and it's 2 weeks, so I'm up like 20 points on my cousin from last week. And then I was like, I don't know, like I guess I'll start Kyle Pitts. I honestly, maybe I'll just start Luther Burden. But you know what? I should probably start Kyle Pitts. So I started Kyle Pitts. I'm like, it's over. You can't come back from in standard scoring. You need touchdowns and yards to get like that. Those like 4 players I just started against.
Yeah, you literally played 4 players.
I played 4 players
three
against.
guys.
I started to feel bad. In standard scoring, what Kyle Pitts did is unbelievable.
And I mean, listen, we kicked off mains too, and gorillas, and he had 50. He had what 48 and a half.
Yeah. Oh my god.
In
FFPC. I actually need to check if I'm going against him in FFPC because that's a nightmare.
Huge open for those tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, well, in the sprint, you're just gonna have to it's like a Kyle Pitts team's gonna win the main, right? Like it's just hard.
Yeah,
you keep these points like for
all 3 weeks.
All 3 weeks. So yeah, he's going to be necessary there probably. All right, let's dive in. We only have a little over 3 hours until I have to go. So, we're actually tight for time.
Yeah. 13 games. We have not had a 13 gamer.
I know. This is the longest walkthrough, I think, of the year, or at least since back before the buys. So yeah, cover the 13 game main slate. Let's kick off with the Ravens at Bengals. This is an interesting slate, by the way. We've got 5 late games. They all start at 4:25, and we have 8 1 p.m. games. So I think the late window is actually a little bit more exciting, but we do have a couple really fun games early on. Ravens at Bengals being one of those. No one has been bad against the Ravens or against the Bengals defense all year except Lamar Jackson. So, what do you do with that? I think here's the chart of EPA per play in blue and success rate in green by every quarterback. This year, Flacco and Lawrence weren't so great, but then everybody's gotten there except Lamar Jackson a couple of weeks ago. But I mean, even with Lamar Jackson not playing at his best, like Carson Wentz had a 78th percentile mark in EPA per play. Bo Nix was 82nd percentile. Justin Fields was 84th. Mason Rudolph was 95th. Like, and Rodgers was 60th. They both played in that game. But God, I mean, you have to think Lamar will be much improved in this game, even if he's not vintage Lamar. So, what are your thoughts starting with the Ravens?
Yeah, I thought he looked a lot better physically last week, and that's subjective. It's just me. But I did thought he looked like when he actually took off and ran, because he had been trying to scramble still for a couple weeks and just didn't really look right. Thought he looked better. He threw the football better, and on paper he did too. His inaccurate throw rate was way down last week. They just didn't convert in the red zone, and that's been kind of like one of their bugaboos all season is that they are I think they're 30th in red zone conversion rate. They're really bad in short yardage too this year, which is, last year they were like the best short yardage team in the NFL. They're 29th and third in shorts this season.
Do you think it's related to them never using their number 1 receiver in the red zone?
It might
Seems
be.
like it could hurt.
And Derrick Henry's like splits in short yardage real bad too. So it's all the above. And Lamar was going to regress anyways, because last year he threw a touchdown in 50% of his red zone throws. Like we knew like you weren't going to run that hot, but regression sometimes oscillates in like an overhanded fashion sometimes. Like, so that's kind of going on right now. I do agree with you though. I'm more bullish on him here because of the way the first matchup kind of played out. We had the likely fumble, the OPI on Flowers where the touchdown comes back. He had a tuck rule fumble. He had another interception. that was tipped at the line of scrimmage that Mark Andrews was wide open for a touchdown. That was going to be a touchdown. And I think that like they just lost a lot of high variance plays, and that won't continue to happen. All it did last week, losing the likely touchdown again. But I expect him to be a lot better, and I expect this game to go a lot better, particularly in the run game, because remember, Derrick Henry only had 11 touches in the first game. That's I don't think going to play out in a similar fashion here.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And the Bengals' run defense is bad. When their pass defense kind of gets the headlines, but they're 31st in DVOA, 30th EPA, 30th success rate. So this is a very exploitable run defense. I'm a little bit nervous on the Ravens side about their offensive approach, where we've seen them go pretty conservative. 55% pass rate last week against the Steelers, a game they lost, and they had a 72% expected pass rate. So this is a team that's not like you're kind of looking for signs of like what's going on, and we all kind of know Lamar's not right now, but like this is a pretty clear sign that Lamar's not right. When you're in a must-win type of game or a very, very important game with your division rival, you're fighting to win the AFC North against, and you're in script that calls for Lamar Jackson and you kind of hide him. That I think that's telling. So that definitely makes me nervous as far as like what version of Lamar we're going to get here. But then the matchup's so easy that I do think we'll have more of a game from the Ravens at least. And Zay Flowers has had like one bad game since the Week 7 bye, and not a ton of bad games all year. But he was awful in yards per hour and 0.16 yards per hour and against the Bengals. So I think it's like more for me about on the Ravens side, them being way better than they were the last time we saw them. I'm not sure they roll here. I'm honestly more excited about the Bengals, where Burrow cost them the game at the end with 2 interceptions. One was tipped, right? But the other, someone compared it to Max Brosmer, which was unfortunate. But he just misjudged where the kind of player was in space, how much air he needed to get under the ball, and that game ends up getting away from them. But he was still by far the most efficient he's been all year. 80th percentile in EPA per play, 92nd percentile success rate. They kind of marched up and down on the Bills through the air, and he was pretty well protected last week, which is important, obviously, and not something we can usually count on with the Bengals offensive line. But the Ravens have not had a pass rush all season.
Nope.
Since they've lost Nnamdi Madubuike, they basically have no pass rush answers. They're okay in coverage, but I mean, Kyle Hamilton's like an interesting piece, and they're not like it's not like they never get pressure, but this is not a formidable pass rush by any means. They're 29th in pressure rate. So I think that Burrow will have time to throw here, and I think he'll be better than he was against the Ravens when he was actually pretty solid on Thanksgiving, but it was his first game back from injury. We're kind of back to where it's just Jamar Chase here, like it was 2 weeks ago with Higgins out. Chase is going to get fed. He was the cover boy, the walkthrough, where I think, he's just, I try to pick someone from the 1 p.m. slate. There were better options on the late slate, but really, really hard to see how he just doesn't get peppered with targets. And I think the Bengals are going to be very successful on offense and run the offense through the passing game, as they almost always do. Last week against the Bills team that's been a huge run funnel, they had a 7% pass rate over expected with a 10% PROE on 1st and 10. Bengals are going to play their style of football.
Yeah, the T. Higgins injury is kind of looming here, because we saw Burrow get his efficiency spike when Higgins came back, and that was like the case all last year. Whenever Higgins played, everything just shot up for him. And even in that first game back, it's like he threw the ball so many times he got over, but it was under 6 yards per pass attempt. It was pretty rough in the first half of that game. That could just been knocking off some of the rust. But Higgins being kind of off the field does kind of at least cast a shadow of like, because remember they ran 80 plays in the first game. Like we can't count on that.
No,
to repeat here. So it's like, if they have some reduced play volume and like Higgins is an impact, like could this kind of rear its head again, where we're doing this? Oh, Higgins off the field. There's not as much good as efficiency here, because he played awesome. He clearly was playing concussed, and now at this point we know he was. And he still was awesome in that game and caught that one-handed touchdown where he literally was getting pass interference. They didn't even throw a flag on that. that play, which is crazy. But that's it. That's really it, though. We talked about it last week. Like how real is the Ravens defense? I was kind of like more bullish and like, well, they held the Rams and they held the Bears, and man, Aaron Rodgers was cooking
He looked
them.
awesome. Like
Dude,
he looked
great.
better. Yeah.
Also, like Aaron Rodgers, like I don't know if anyone's noticed, like his beard like changes color as good as he's playing. It's like a health bar in like a video game. Like 2 weeks ago against the Bills, it was like just white, like he was out of health, and like he was like, "Get me out of the game." And like last week, he was like approaching Ryan Day territory, where I was like, "Is he coloring this thing?" Like, but he like comes out and throws like a 52-yard pass to DK Metcalf, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, this dude's getting younger by the second." Like
he looked legitimate. Like his health was up last week.
He was like buying time on the run and like throwing
Yeah.
I was like, what is he ran for a touchdown? I was like, what?
He was willing to actually like go out there and play football. Dude, I mean, he was not afraid of getting hit. Honestly, he looked like Green Bay Aaron Rodgers.
He was awesome.
Remarkable.
He was awesome. So
yeah,
maybe the Ravens are just they got exposed a little bit those last 2 weeks.
I've been making fun of Rodgers for just getting the ball out as soon as he can and not taking hits, but I did enjoy vintage Rodgers last week. I'd sign up for that again.
I think we all would. We definitely don't want to watch what we saw for the last previous 5 weeks before that.
No, we don't.
No one wants that. But yeah, I was dying. I was like, oh my gosh, but I was like, his beard looks it's darker. Like it's like getting darker. Like I was like, oh my gosh.
Maybe it's the mushrooms, man. Maybe he took some magic mushrooms and it's got his health. So now this week we don't know for sure DFS wise. As of right now, I'm not sure if Josh Jacobs is playing, and that's going to have a pretty big impact on this slate with Emmanuel Wilson potentially opening up. But if Jacobs plays, this is a pretty tight slate, to the point that I think Mitchell Tinsley will be pretty popular, or at least someone that we're all going to be thinking about playing on, certainly if you're doing any kind of Bengals stuff. So any thoughts on him? Because on DraftKings, like he honestly is one of the better punt plays.
Yeah, I mean, the Thanksgiving game, he was targeted on 30% of his routes. He had 9 targets, but remember they ran 80 plays, so like that will probably come down. But you don't, if he can turn 6 targets into something, this would be a spot for. And they're going to throw. We know that. So I don't have a problem with him. I prefer him over Yoshvash, but we know like Yoshvash is just like a touchdown.
He'll run more routes.
He's a touchdown dependent guy, though. Like, what you're signing up for. I thought it was fun last week. They actually ran a play last week where Yoshavash was the Y and Gesicki was the wide receiver. And I was like, yep, this checks out. I was like, because that's basically what he is.
This makes more sense for both people.
Correct. But they actually ran a play where Yoshavash was the Y. I was like, yep. Yeah. Yeah, I would be cautious on so if I was playing a non-chase Bengal, it would be Tinsley, Yoshavash, and Gesicki. I don't think I'd be chasing. I know Gesicki, he looked awesome in the snow too. Gesicki's another dude. Like he was like everyone was like body catching everything, and Gesicki was just out there snagging everything in that game.
That's what he does. Yeah.
But he only ran 17 routes both games the past 2 weeks. Like nothing's changed for him. They're playing 4 tight ends. He just he converted it. He just converted last week. So I'd be a little cautious on chasing him. I would rather just outright punt and say my dude's going to get me a 0 or he's going to get me something else. But because there are tight ends that are cheaper to play.
There's a lot of tight ends on this slate. So I think Gesicki's playable, but 47% route participation last week. I mean, you're banking on him to have a really high targets per route run, which I think is a reasonable assumption. He has a 20% on the year, which is 83rd percentile at tight end. He's 16% first read target rate. So like they are calling plays with him in mind when he's on the field, and with Higgins out, he should help pick up some of the slack. So I think he's okay, but like he's probably going to run a route on less than half of dropbacks. They're playing, to your point, Drew Sample, Noah Fant, and Tanner Hudson all get run in addition to Gesicki. So you just can't. It's not like his playing time is going to balloon here. Maybe it's a little bit more, but I mean, 2 weeks ago he was at 40% against the Ravens. So you just cannot count on the routes. Unfortunately, Tinsley was at 62% against the Ravens. He was at 77% the week before against the Patriots when Chase was out. And he provides kind of a deep threat element. He has a 16 ADOT this year, 16.3 against the Patriots, 15.9 last week. He has not produced 0.97 and 0.71 yards per out run, but he is getting targeted in those games. He had a 20% targets per out run and a 26%. So he's, it's $3,100 to spend on.
You know
I
what
hope
you're
this
doing.
guy catches a deep ball.
Yeah, you know what you're doing.
But he might.
And if you're trying to, when we get to it, you stack Lions and Rams, it's like you need someone down here to facilitate because we do play with the rules of a salary cap, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's tight ends, and then Tinsley is kind of the guys who jump out. Like, because there's some 4,000 plus receivers that I think are interesting, but not a lot of guys in the threes.
No.
So he is definitely someone to think about for DFS, and I think like a totally fine play. It's just very boom bust. It's sort of like you're playing a little bit of a discount Rashid Shaheed is sort of what you're doing.
You're playing him to get to an anchor at the top, though, like a stars and studs type of lineup.
Right.
That's why you're not like plugging him in statically thinking he's just gonna open up a bunch of mid-range stuff. You're literally because you want to play Puka Nacua and Jameer Gibbs or
Jamar Chase or
Jamar Chase
JSN.
plus Derrick Henry and stuff like that.
Or Devontae Adams, or like there's a lot of really good Amon-Ra. There's a lot of good players at the top this week. So, and not a ton of punt options. Bengals running game, we've got Chase Brown last week had a little bit better of a role than I thought he would. He had 63% of the carries, which is up from 45% against the Ravens 2 weeks ago. He's, it's like a little bit tough because he's just not been efficient this year as a runner. He's been okay as a receiver, but not great. And so you're like, if you get the work, he's great. And if you don't get the work, it's over immediately. So where are you out on him?
Yeah, similar to where we were last week. We thought, there was a lot of fragility there, and he only had the 35 yards, and he scored 2 touchdowns. Like, that's just going to happen. Like, but I think the assessment was right that he's profiling more as a like RB2 type of player, and you hope that he converts with either efficiency or scoring opportunities. He did cash in the one, but he's basically like, you look at all his usage last week, he's like the RB15 in snap share, the RB14 in backfield touches, the RB15 in route participation. So it's like, it's just that's where I have him. Like he's like right in that like upper end, like higher end RB2 range, and then you can run hot when the efficiency either lines up or the scoring opportunities cash in.
Yep. To go back to the Ravens real quick, Mark Andrews has been dealing with an injury, so if he were out, likely would be an absolute smash here, I think.
Oh, everyone would get to that. Yeah, everyone.
Yeah,
the Bengals are playing the tight end here.
Yeah, but let's say Andrews is in, any pieces from their passing game jump out to you here?
It would just be if you were playing Lamar and you were looking to stack him, it would for sure be with either one of the tight ends or potentially even both. The Bengals now have already allowed the most receiving yardage in a season to tight end since 2015. There's a month of football to be played.
That's crazy.
They are 2 touchdowns behind the all-time the season tight end record. 17 is the most. The 2013 Cardinals. They've allowed 15 already. And the Bengals throw to the Ravens throw to their tight ends in the red zone. Like Mark Andrews has a 29% target share in the red zone. He's a 35% target share and end zone targets. Likely's been a little more involved the past 2 weeks too, because of probably this Andrews stuff. So I think both guys are in play. I think in Lamar stacks, I don't know. I guess you could play these guys ISO if you had a favorite, or if you just want.
I think you can. They're cheap enough. They're both under 4K. Yeah.
But I think if I was stacking Lamar, it'd be for sure, because we talk about Flowers, it's pretty tried and true, like all season. The Bengals just don't give up points to wide receivers. 31% of the points they've allowed this season to wide receivers. The next closest team is at 40.9%. So it's like a 10% difference. They've only allowed 100-yard receiver, and it was 100 yards on the button to Amon-Ra in week 5. So it's just like, I think even if say Flowers were to convert a touchdown, I don't think like last week there's a ceiling opportunity here.
I will note the health stuff is a little bit of question mark, so keep an eye on that. But Mark Andrews was up to 86% route participation last week, which was a season high. He had his worst first read target rate of the year at 3% and only 6% targets per hour.
Gotta get that money back, man.
Yeah, but I mean, for real, like something changed last week where they played him way more. So
he got paid.
He got paid. Maybe that continues if he's like good to go. then I think Andrews is actually a pretty nice play here, given the tight end matchup that you laid out there. All right, let's go to the Bills at Patriots. The rematch, the revenge of the revenge. The Bills getting their revenge back on Stephon Diggs for
The
beating them
first
in
kind of
Buffalo.
like huge game in the Vrabel era.
I guess, yeah, that's true, because the first game against the Bills was their first like challenge, but no one really, there weren't stakes, because it's like,
Yeah.
it's just a young plucky team, right? But now it's like this game has like playoff implications,
Division, like if they win the
division.
division, like basically
Yeah,
win the division if they win this game.
boom. I mean, that's huge. So, um, you know, I'll start with the Patriots. I'll do the Drake May stuff. I mean, he's number one in EPA per game this season. He's the talking points against him are the schedule, which actually is not really true for the Patriots in terms of the defenses that they've played. They've played some tough defenses,
Just the
as I'll get
quarterback.
to with their, what'd you say?
Just their quarterback, their opposing quarterbacks.
Yeah, we'll get to that, because their defense, I think, is kind of a schedule merchant, but I don't think May is. He has not thrown a 300-yard passing game this year, but he's thrown 200 yards in every game and 250 10 times. So he's just been super, super consistent. And he gets a Bills defense that I think is, like, the Patriots defense definitely overrated. So is the Bills. The Bills just had Joe Burrow march up and down against them. And I think in large part, their run defense has kind of hidden a pass defense that's not very good. The Bills run defense is very bad. They're 30th in DVOA, 31st in EPA, 23rd in success rate, and teams are running all over them. 57% opposing pass rate against. But the Bengals just did, as I mentioned when covering them, they did normal Bengals football against the Bills, 68% pass rate, 7% PROE, and the Patriots also had a 2% PROE with a 66% pass rate in the first matchup against Buffalo. The Patriots aren't a run-based team. They're a bit of a pass-first team, somewhat balanced, but the passing game is the strength of the team. So I think that the Patriots will attack the Bills through the air here, not like with an outrageous pass rate, but I don't see them shifting to like a big run-first approach and trying to win this with the run game. I think they'll try to be balanced with a lean to the pass and use Drake May as the key to victory here. And I honestly think the Bills defense can be exposed a bit, where Tua Tagovailoa was super efficient against this team. Joe Burrow just had an 80th percentile EPA per play despite those 2 interceptions. Lamar Jackson was 98th percentile in week 1 against them. If you pass on the Bills, it can lead to quite a bit of success, and I think the Patriots will. So I'm kind of interested in Stephon Diggs here. I'm kind of interested in Hunter Henry. I'm most interested in Drake May. It's a little bit tough from a stacking perspective, because I tend to think that it'll be a little spread out, and May's probably in for like a good game. I don't know that this is like a blow up spot, but it's certainly a fun setup for the Patriots, where I do expect them to be successful here, and you can imagine these teams pushing each other. So what are your thoughts on the Patriots side?
Yeah, we want a little push here for Josh Allen, potential upside here. And
For sure.
these big games, they always kind of utilize him and to win us the game. Just go win us the game, Josh.
They
But
should do
yeah,
that more, actually.
yeah, honestly, yes, you're not wrong on that. Yeah, no one's ever told Joe Brady this until it's absolutely a necessity.
How good do you think that LSU offense might have been if Joe Brady wasn't running it?
He actually held him. He actually held back the best offense in
He
college football
definitely
history.
did. He definitely did. I know for a fact he did now. I'm watching him with Josh Allen. There's no way he didn't hold them back.
But yeah, I mean, the Bills have just been predicated. Their defense is like fine when they get pressure, and when they don't, they give up the bag. I'm curious. Sean McDermott historically is someone that usually he'll adjust game plans, like for if something didn't work or if he thinks something will work. Remember last year, like the Lamar Jackson regular season game to the playoff game, he completely flipped. So I'm curious to see what he has in store for what he believes didn't work in that first Patriots matchup, because May didn't like light up the fantasy box score, but was hyper efficient in that game. And if you remember the first half of that game, the teams were kind of like they were trading turnovers, and like it was a really low scoring game at halftime. And then in the second half,
it was kind of a boring game.
But
it was like one of those big boxing, it's like you got the 2 boxers and you're like, all right, here we go. And then they're just sort of like jabbing, like feeling each other out for the first like 4 or 5 rounds.
But I think the second
It
half
got
showed
fun.
the upside that these two teams can have, though, because in the second half of that game, they were just trading touchdowns and field goals,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that was cool. Like once we got over the hump of like maybe it was just like early game because yeah, Patriots started out punt, fumble, punt, field goal, half, and then Bills started out fumble, punt, fumble, field goal, punt, and then in the second half, Bills went touchdown, interception, touchdown, field goal, end of game. Patriots went touchdown, touchdown, punt, field goal. So it's like there was still like a realm where like these teams are just also throwing haymakers in the other boxing match. Like we're trading blows. So that's what we want to have from a fantasy stance.
They can definitely get each other going once the punches.
Well, just because both quarterbacks are so good. Like if you're gonna have a quarterback driven game, and I'm with you. So like the Bills have a lousy run defense, but where they're bad against the run is in the interior, and the Patriots can't run in the interior. Like they're a terrible team, and that's why they didn't run.
They like to run to the edges if they
That's why they didn't run in the first game these teams played. The first time these teams played, 19 carries for 59 yards as a team, and I know a lot of that was Ramondre. He did get in the end zone twice, pilfered 2 short ones there, but yeah, the structurally where the Patriots, even if they wanted to say like we're going to come out and run the football, they're not good at the kind of runs that the Bills are bad at defending. They're more of a Travion go pop one for us type of team.
I think from that perspective, Travion from like a season long point of view is somewhat interesting. Last time he played the Bills, he had 6 carries, but Antonio Gibson also had 6 carries, and so there was a 3-way split going with 2-way split now. And Henderson's just been like straight up better than Ramondre at everything. Ramondre has a 30% success rate.
Except for the thing that Mike Vrabel cares about.
Which is what, pass blocking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Everything with the ball in his hands, he's been better.
Yes. Absolutely everything. It's just
But I mean, from a success rate point of view, Stevenson's supposed to be your I threw out the nickname, because it's Thunder and Lightning, right? What if we call Ramondre Silent Thunder? Is that a good nickname? Because dude, he's not doing it. His success rate sucks. It's actually Henderson who's the consistent one. And he was not consistent at all to start the year, but he's become a lot better that way, and obviously gives you a lot more juice. So I think Henderson is somewhat interesting here from a season long, kind of a low end RB2 type, but ultimately, if this game goes nuts, he doesn't have the ceiling, I don't think, for DFS. It's more about the passing game. Hunter Henry's probably the most interesting piece from a DFS perspective, where we're probably playing multiple tight ends in some lineups this week, and I think he's definitely a candidate for a really strong game at 4,400.
Maybe Diggs, Diggs and Henry. The rest of the guys all rotate. They even got Kyle Williams a little involved in week 13. So how much more does he have coming out of the bye? I would love for them this would be a game where just play Stephon Diggs the whole game. Just play him the whole game.
Right?
Just play him the whole game. Let us just let us have a week out of the bye. It's a big game to win division. You can if you win this game, you can give him a 60% route rate the rest of the season like you want to until the playoffs. But this is be a spot, man. Like, because we talked about it 2 weeks ago when we got excited when he ran like he was close. He was like just under 90%, I think, in week 11, and then come right back these last 2 weeks before the bye, and he's like what 50, low 50s,
54, 61.
Yeah, and it's like that's when because the peripherals are there for him. He's been an excellent player. He's efficient. Awesome. We just need him on the field. I would love for them. I would just love for it to be the Henderson thing too. I just know that against the Bills but with Bosa being back, like Ramondre is going to play more than we want. But play Diggs the whole game, Patriots. This would be a spot. Play him the whole game.
Is Bosa going to be back? He was limited.
He practiced today. So I'm usually if you practice Thursday, Friday, I'm just assuming the tea leaves are like he's going to play. But
yeah, okay. If he practiced today, then I agree. He'll probably be in.
Yeah, I did check, and he did practice today. So,
he was full today too. Okay, yeah, he'll play.
So
he's off the injury report.
I just assume he's going to play.
That's pretty bad news for the Patriots because Will Campbell's out. So the pass rush is going to be a little bit of a problem. Yeah.
Travion had 1 pass blocking rep in week 13 and gave up a pressure on it.
I saw. Yeah, it's a little frustrating.
And we're going to talk about when we get to thing, like, dude, I mean, Amari Hampton in his first game back, one of the guys actually Henderson's graded over in pass blocking, like absolutely like got shadow realmed on a blitz, and we didn't see him again until overtime.
Yeah. We'll get
It's a
to him.
bummer. It's a bummer because like this stuff matters to coaches. It's just like the my hang up with it is that they don't utilize in the way it should matter. So like they won't play Henderson on like a clear passing down, but running backs don't block on clear passing downs. They run routes. And that's the thing that
Right.
frustrates me about like the way it's handled by NFL coaches. It's just like, yeah, this guy can't pass block. So like, well, why wouldn't you use him on the long down distance? He's gonna run a pass route. Like
Right.
like that's
Yeah, that's such
that
a good point. It's like the early down blitz stuff where you really want the guy to be able to
correct, because that's when you're running like play action or like that's when you're
Yeah.
running stuff out of heavier sets where you'd want it's like, but they remove these guys in clear pass situation. I'm like, well, it's counterintuitive. Like the guy's running a route. Like
No, it's a great point.
Like,
Um
I digress.
Another
time.
On the Bills side of this, Josh Allen's coming off an awesome game, 97th percentile in paper play. Luckily, last week I did my rant, but then said Josh Allen's going to get there anyway, and Josh Allen got there anyway. So I've started to dial in. Like when I'm most angry at the Bills, that's like when Allen's going to take over a game, and I'm not as angry at the Bills, but I'm still kind of angry because honestly, like when I was thinking through like the MVP stuff a little bit. Like, how is Josh Allen's the MVP, right? Who's the most valuable player to their team? Like,
Well, that's the dichotomy of like what
it's
the
Allen.
discord.
Stafford's the most valuable player. Like, no, he's not. Like, he's having a great season. He's having a really cool, fun season. It's better than our expectations by a lot. But he's got Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. He's got an elite defense. He's got Sean McVay. Even look at Drake May. Like, Drake May's having an incredible season. He's awesome. But the entire franchise got completely transformed by the coaching staff that they brought in, and they've got a lot of good additions. Like they finally have some pass protection. Like I
This is
mean,
probably the
I'd be
worst.
happy if he won, but
This is probably the worst Bills team in 6 years.
yeah, the coaching's not good on both sides of the ball. Like I don't trust this defensive. Like the defense is not good at stopping the run or the pass. It's probably worse at stopping the pass than people even realize. And then Joe Brady's like one of the most frustrating offensive coordinators
They're
I can
playing
remember.
Gabe Davis and Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks is getting Tyrell Shavers is running
Gabe
half
Davis,
the routes
dude.
now.
I honestly think I can run. I don't even think it's agreed. I can run 80% proxy. I think of Gabe Davis's 40 right now.
I thought Gabe Davis was going to medically retire, and he's like 70% of the routes now. It's crazy. This is like a crazy bad situation. And Allen's third in EPA per game. He's right there with Love and May. He's having an awesome season. Basically, anytime they're like, didn't do it against the Texans, but most of the time they're like, hey, Josh, can you just like go win us this game? He just does, and like pretty easily. Like, dude is having an incredible season. So, I mean, he could. My hope is, and I'm rooting for May here, but I want to see Allen fireworks again. It's so fun. So let's have the Patriots push the Bills, and the Bills are one of those teams where if you like, they're the Hulk, right? You make them angry. Don't make me angry. You make them angry, and then they get way better. You're so much better. Like the Patriots are actually a poor team to play the Bills in some ways because the only way they can win is by passing the ball and making Josh Allen angry. And now he's going to put the Superman cape.
That's
on.
what we want, though. That's what we want.
That's what we want. Yeah. No, I'm excited about. Now, how do you play it though? Because Shakir's barely playing now. I mean, he was at 64% route participation against the Bengals, and that would be one of those spots where you would hope he'd get into the 80s. And he was at 50% against the Steelers, where they went super run heavy. So like Shakir's a really tough play right now. We just talked Gabe Davis last week, 75% route participation. Brandon freaking Cooks, 42%. Tyrell Shavers, 50%. Keon Coleman was down at 22%. So he's actually getting phased out in favor of Brandon Cooks. Tough scene.
Real tough scene.
Yeah. Dalton Kincaid was at 53%. And I think this is probably the guy that we want to look to. Kincaid's profile per route and stuff. It's just you see a lot of green here. Yards per route run 2.86, highest among all tight ends. Targets per route run 98th percentile at 24%. He is getting fed when on the field, and he's a good player. I don't know, it's probably somewhat related to this knee injury he's nursing. Blocking, they want to get Hawes and Knox
Well,
on the field.
because they are a run team.
They're a run team. Stupidly, you have Josh Allen, guys, please. But they're a run-based team. So he's kind of the guy that the concern here for me with the Bills would be about that they don't get pushed enough and they just run the ball a bunch. But if they get pushed, we know the ceiling is there. What are your thoughts on their passing game?
Yeah, usually, I mean, if it's just from like a DFS perspective, you can always play Josh Allen by himself because he just has that rushing role, and they do spread around. Usually, the touchdowns get spread around. It's never just one guy dropping like a bunch of touchdowns. But I think Kincaid is the clear play because of the matchup too as well. Patriots have been weaker against tight ends. They're sixth in rate of fantasy points allowed to tight ends. Tight ends have about 24% of the points they allowed. He had 100 yards the first game that they played too as well. Patriots really good against slot receivers though, which is interesting. Usually you almost see like that overlap, that correlation of like just middle of the field stuff, right? Like the Commanders are just terribly slow in the middle of the field. And they give up the bag to slot receivers and tight ends, which we'll get to too probably.
Well, Bobby Wagner's out. Maybe that'll help.
It might help them. It might help them because they're
him
and Frankie Louvu. But I think it's Kincaid though, because he offers the more if you're gonna play a guy with Allen, I just want to play the guy who has the most like kind of upside per opportunity, and it's just Kincaid.
And I think the Patriots defense has been okay this year, but they're out Milton Williams, who's been the star pass rusher,
which could be the problem for this game, because if James Cook is cooking, then it bogs everything down.
He's been okay as a run blocker, but he's actually been better as a much better as a pass rusher. He's more of an interior pass rusher than a run stopper, but
just rotating him out has made them a worse run defense.
That's true. They've gotten worse since he's been out. That's true.
Like individually, he wasn't like it's like Malik Collins. Malik Collins for the Browns doesn't have like great standalone metrics against the run, but when you rotate the line, like you see his impact, and like that's
Aaron Donald was like this too, where he wasn't like great against the run individually, but he was still very important on both run and the pass.
And it's still only a small sample though too, since he's been out, but they have been worse against, like Chase Brown was efficient against them two games ago. And then the Giants guys in that weird game, which we'll talk about too, where they just like refused to throw, had success.
Kafka stinks, man. Get him out of there.
Bring
Dayball back. Bring Dayball back.
They're not going to do that, but
they're not going to do that. I just enjoyed the vibes of Dayball, Scatterbo, and Dart. Let's go back to
it was, man. Days. It was, like I said, it was like a WWE. Like he was like the Paul
so
Heyman guy, and like you had like the tag team, like the Legion of Doom dudes.
So good. We talked about the Patriots defense being fraudulent. Here's the quarterbacks they faced this year: Geno Smith, Tua Tagovailoa, Aaron Rodgers, Bryce Young. They got Josh Allen, who was pretty good against them.
He was efficient.
Spencer Rattler, Cam Ward, Dylan Gabriel, Michael Penix, Baker Mayfield, which means a lot less than it used to, Justin Fields, Joe Flacco, and Jackson Dart, who's not allowed to pass. So it's been soft. It's been super, super soft. This defense is probably pretty overrated by, the season-long type of metrics.
Correct.
And then they're not that great against the run anymore. They're kind of middling. They're 16th in rushing DVOA, 12th in EPA, 19th in success rate. You can run on them. You can pass on them. Again, I like this game environment a decent amount. It's just it's tough because both offenses are kind of spread out. But Cook is set up really well here. I mean, the Bills have been super committed to the run this season, and it's not impossible like that. This is just a Bills runaway win because you do have Patriots. Their pass protection is a problem. Will Campbell being out is a real problem, and with Bosa back, you could be looking at May running around and just under pressure. I do have optimism for them, but there's outcomes where the Bills just roll, and James Cook, like we know how the Bills are going to play if they roll. Like there's no doubt about that. And Cook had 75% of snaps last week, 62% of carries. Like he's super locked in. He's number one in rush yards over expected per game. He's having a great season. I'm frustrated with how the way they're running their offense, because a great running back versus a great quarterback, it shouldn't be really a discussion which ones you prioritize. But the Bills are prioritizing the running back. They have a super low pass rate over expected on 1st and 10. The only team lower than them is the Panthers. The Panthers have a minus 12% pass rate over expected on 1st and 10, and the Bills are at minus 9%. So they're playing like they're trying to hide Josh Allen. It's super dumb, but it's good for Cook. Neutral situations, defense doesn't know what's happening. You hand the ball off to Cook. He's efficient, and you're going against a run defense that's at this point pretty overrated. So I think James Cook is a very strong play here, a frustratingly strong play, you might even say.
Yeah, and he's had good games against good run defenses too because of that. Because like Houston, like he was like the only good thing for them that game. Shakir had a good game too that day too, but like that was like the whole strength of their offense was his rushing in that game. So yeah, I mean he's just been a really good player all year. And that he's the way like if James Cook is awesome in this game, then probably no one else was. That sucks to say.
That's true. Yeah. It's a good way to just play this game. You just
like if you're playing James Cook, like you don't need to do anything. Like you just would play him as an isolation because he's gonna bog the game down if he's awesome.
Yeah, although he's explosive enough where I could see like
Cook
and May stuff getting there together.
He can at least create explosives.
Yeah,
hit you.
May's probably a trailing script.
He can do it. He can hit a 60-yarder.
He sure can. All right, let's move to I believe the Chiefs at Chargers. Yeah, next game. Let's talk Chiefs. Where are you at on where Pat? He's just coming off a horrible game against the Texans. Where are you at on the state of the Chiefs?
Not great. Vibes aren't good. It's because of the offensive line, right? Like I mean, it's just so hard to trust the state of this offensive line.
Both tackles are out.
Well, 3 tackles are out now because
3.
Well, Simmons and Juwan Taylor are out, and then they lost Wanye Morris in the first play last week.
Oh, Morris, yeah.
So, and Jalen Moore was awful. Oh my goodness, dude, he was awful.
Well, they're starting a guy. I believe it's Esa Pole.
Yeah, he played actually okay last week.
He played okay
against Daniel Hunter. Like he held his own, but like you wouldn't expect that to be static. At least like
I googled him because I was like, I narrate the walkthrough, and if you're interested in that, it's a premium feature at legendaryupside.com. But I narrate the walkthrough, and I needed to know how to pronounce this dude's name because it's spelled Pole, and it's Pole, I think, and that's what the AI pronunciation guy told me. I couldn't find anything better. But the reason I couldn't find anything better is like this dude. One of the videos that I looked at to see if he said his own name, he's like talking about how psyched he was to be invited to the Shrine Bowl. I was like, this seems bad. So he was not bad, in the limited action he's gotten, but like talk about a low floor. He's rookie this year, by the way. This was a video from March where he's like, I'm stoked to be at the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah.
Which the Shrine Bowl's great, but like he's not a high end type of prospect.
I mean, you don't feel comfortable about this at all. No. When Mahomes has been pressured, he's been awful. I mean, he's 28th in completion rate when pressured. It's weird because the Chiefs, like usually you think about like pressure, you think about trying to get the ball out faster, and Mahomes is the opposite. When he gets pressured, he tries to like extend plays and buy time and throw downfield. And that's like the opposite you do against Jesse Minter's defenses. Like the whole Chargers deal is predicated on not giving up explosives, not giving up downfield throws. They want they want Rashee Rice to have 12 targets this game.
Yeah. Like well, you know what I do too. So Jesse Minter and I are on the same page.
Yes, sir. But that's the problem. If the line is bad, Mahomes then wants to go. Like he makes himself less efficient in a bad spot. Like he compounds the matter. Like the way Mahomes plays, and like we get excited about, because we're like, oh my gosh, look at this dude. And Caleb Williams does this too, but he's just bad at the free squares too. But like you're like, people get excited about Caleb Williams to the worst. I'm like, this, if he just would have hit that guy, he didn't need to do all that. Mahomes does that sometimes. It's like, dude, just like make the easy play sometimes. And that's the frustrating part. I think we lost Pat. Maybe that's me, but let's see if maybe he pops back up here. But yeah, that's the frustrating part with Mahomes. So he isn't running though. So you do have that out, but yeah, just absolutely terrible. We've seen him. He's been higher than QB10 once the past 5 weeks. And this is probably a game where it's kind of a bogged down, slow game in Arrowhead, in the cold. You don't trust anything about the Chargers as well. He just checked out, so let's see if he jumps back in. But it's still recording for me. I have no idea what to do with this because I'm not a host at all. Like, what do I do? I'm just in panic mode. But but that's what it is. We hope that Rashee Rice is the guy though that gets fed here. So you back?
I'm back.
I tried my best. I got flummoxed. I didn't know what to do. I panicked. Terrible at ad lib. Terrible.
Well, it's funny because the spot is mostly us just like talking in blocks, and so then you got put on. It's like you were alone on stage there for a second.
I was like, I don't know what to do, man.
Well, with Rice, one of the things I noted was the Chargers play a ton of zone, and Rice has been so much better against zone than man. Does that factor in for you at all here?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm bullish on Rice here, and I think he's probably an under the radar play just because everyone's excited about Rams, Lions, and we talked about Chase earlier, and then JSN is in a good spot again. So I think Rice is kind of getting overlooked because the one everyone watched the Chiefs stink on prime time.
Yeah, totally.
But this matchup is completely set up for Rashee Rice to have a high target rate.
It really is.
So I am excited about Rashee Rice.
I am too. I'm just like, to me, this is a Rice game where like he's got 32% targets per out run against zone, 3.24 yards per out run, and a 4.78 dot. So it's like what you're saying about like what Jesse Minter would like that's what he wants. It's like throw to this guy 5 yards a clip. Great. That sounds great to me too. And I think like Kelsey, this is all his stuff. It's just been handed over to Rashee Rice. And so I don't have much interest in Kelsey. I don't have that much interest in Worthy because I do think they'll be trying to limit the explosive. This is not, and with the offensive line issues, this is not a spot where I feel that great about Mahomes. Also, his deep ball just looks terrible right now. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I mean, Worthy's just had no ceiling this year, and this is not the spot. So it's pretty simple for me on the Chiefs side. I really like Rashee Rice. I don't really like anything else. Obviously, their run game is a disaster on top of it all.
Since returning to the lineup too, Rashee Rice has 49% of the red zone targets. He has 17 red zone targets. The next closest guy is 4 on the team. So we're getting a matchup that's probably going to feed him inherent volume. And then if they drive to near the end zone, like he gets all that stuff. So all the too high stuff, he's got 33% first read target share on against too high, over 3 yards per out run. It's just a spot to where he should be set up, and the offense should be geared around getting him the football as much as possible.
Totally. On the Chargers side, and I guess one thing you could maybe, like if I was going to pour some cold water on the Rice stuff, it'd be like, what if this game just stinks? Because
it could.
Yeah, they have a low implied team total. The Chiefs defense has been good, and is going to try to get pressure here. And Herbert's been pretty rough the last few games with his offensive line, being poor. And then you've seen, like, do you remember when we were excited about the Chargers pass rate over expected? That feels like a year ago. Where we're like, the Chargers are our PROE kings. The first couple of games, and then they fell off a little bit, but then they threw on the Giants. Everything's going great. But, dude, minus 11% last week, and the week before, minus 17% against the Raiders, minus 24% against the Eagles on 1st and 10. So this is they're high. I mean, look, they're high. He has a broken hand. Like, I'm not saying it's like crazy. Like, I understand what's going on, and they're down both their tackles, and they just lost Trey Pipkins, who was their backup. Who's Rashawn Slater should have been the tackle, and it was Pipkins, and now he's hurt. So it's the same deal. Both these teams are missing 3 tackles. They're down 6 tackles total in this game. Like, that's a real problem for the game environment, I would say. So anything on the Chargers side you're excited about after I kind of shared a lot of pessimism there?
No, absolutely not. Too, you might want to check when you got booted too. Check your mic to see if it's picking up the
mic. Thank you.
Yeah, see if it's picking up the right mic. We don't want to do 2.5 more hours.
I should be on the right mic now. Thank you.
Oh yeah, you're cooking now. But yeah, I mean, since Joe Alt's been out, Herbert's gotten to 18 fantasy points one time. Like an 18, like to be like a mild, like usable dude. Like, it just there's
Yeah.
been no real ceiling for him since Alt's been out. He's got a broken hand. He's going into Arrowhead, where like the Chiefs have been significantly better on defense this season at home, which tracks because like it's always a tough place to play if the defense is good. Over the past 4 games, the Chargers are averaging 1.8 plays per game of 20 or more yards. That's 30th in the NFL. Since week 10, 65% of their set of downs have reached third down. That's 31st in the NFL. Only the Titans are worse. They have a 33% success rate since week 10. Only the Browns and Titans are worse. That's it. Like, this offense is running on fumes right now. The defense is playing really well. And that's just kind of like hanging them around, keeping them around. But I think this game is probably going to more or less be a bogged down, like not fun, like game environment. You like Rice because of potential
so far I have a
value,
lineup that's James Cook, Rashee Rice. Just move on from those games.
You can't trust any of the receivers since Alt's been out, like because there's been no ceiling. There's just been no offensive ceiling. Like Ladd's had a couple games he's gotten by because he's gotten a touchdown, but like the Steelers
and Keenan Allen's back, dude. That's the other thing.
They're using him, and Keenan Allen and Aranda Gadsden they've correlated. Like when one's playing, the other isn't.
And when I say back, I don't mean like he's vintage Keenan Allen. I mean he went from like running routes on 50, 54, 60% of dropbacks to 75, 82, 73%. So his playing time is up. And that's definitely hurt Gadsden.
Yeah.
So not a ton to get excited about. What's your read on what the backfield split will be like?
They keep saying it's going to be kind of hot handy, and I kind of believe them still, just because Hampton won. First of all, he's coming back from an injury that I think is not that far like removed from like something like happened to Pacheco last year. Like he ended up having a fractured foot. We found out like ankle, like it was fractured. It wasn't like a sprain. So we might not be able to see him. He did have a couple explosive plays. The run in overtime was at least like, all right, there's something here. He did out touch Vidal 5-1 in the red zone. So we might see some usage like that where you if you're playing him, you're hoping he gets in the box. If they just like get a pass interference in the end zone or have someone get tackled at the 1. But I think Vidal's going to be the pass protector for sure. He came in.
I agree. Yeah.
Nakobe Dean just ran right through him for a sack. And then he didn't even play the next 3 drives. They were like, because you got a quarterback with a broken hand too. Like he can't be taking hits. So I think that's going to factor in. Vidal's allowed 6 pressures on 71 pass blocking snaps this season. Hampton's at 6 on 34. It's 3 rookies at the bottom of pass protection. It's Trevian Henderson, Omarion Hampton, and Cam Scadaboo are the worst pass protectors this year. It sucks because you probably were waiting on Hampton to come back, but then Vidal played good enough to where the coaching staff at least wanted to play him, and then Hampton is hurt. Still maybe not 100%, and he's a liability in protection.
And then Herbert's hurt.
Protection because Herbert's hurt. You want to protect him extra. So it's just he's kind of like a touchdown or bust guy, which kind of is a bummer.
I think that's right, but I do think if you gave me like an even line on carries, I would take Hampton. I think he leads in carries this week.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, but
and they're going to try to run.
Vidal.
Because that's like you said, that's what they're trying to insulate this Herbert injury and the offensive line.
Yep. All right, let's move to the Commanders at Giants. A game environment that should be fun, but Mike Kafka refuses to pass the ball. This dude has gone super, super conservative since taking over, because Davis was pointing out he was calling the plays before Daboll was fired, I believe.
Correct.
So you think, not much is going to change maybe, but things have changed a lot. They've had pass rates over expected of -17, -7, and -15% over the 3 weeks with him, -22 on 1st and 10 against the Packers, then 1 against the Lions, and -13% last week. Now, Jameis Winston started 2 of those games, and it's like they actually were pretty competitive, and they were kind of in spots, especially against the Packers, where like you kind of can get away with being really conservative. in a way because that team's overly conservative. You can run on them. They have a great pass rush. It all sort of makes sense. They were losing badly to the Patriots, really kind of from the jump, and gave up. I would say like that. This is a capitulation game. When you have 58% pass rate, when a 73% expected pass rate, and you're trailing the whole game, that's just pure capitulation. So that's the one that jumps out to me of like, okay, like this isn't really a serious operation right now. I think on some level, he's probably just like trying to make sure Dart doesn't suffer some horrific injury under his watch because he wants to go get another job. But man, it's disappointing given how bad the Commanders' defense is because it's tough to see the Giants taking advantage of this opportunity fully. I mean, JJ McCarthy just posted 86th percentile EPA per play against this defense. Like you can pass on the Commanders, but I'm just not sure the Giants will. Although I don't want to be too, certain about how a team is going to attack. Because like if they do pass, Jackson Dart can cook here, I think.
Yeah, he had the 0 designed runs in week 13 after he had 15% of the designed runs before that. So like, that matters because, 43.5% of Dart's fantasy points come from rushing. Only Justin Fields is higher. And basically from a passing perspective from points per game, he's like right between like Mac Jones, Bryce Young. So
he reminds me of Jalen Hurts in some ways, more of the, pre this year.
I think he can throw if they let him. That's the thing is just like, will they let him? And because we want him throwing.
I think Dart's good. They should probably let him throw the ball.
Yeah, because he was tracking, it looked like earlier in the week, to be like the cash gamey type of quarterback. And I actually think he's more of a tournament play just because you have to have faith. You have to have faith in them. One, we can't count on them ever running him again the rest of the year because he can't protect himself. Like that week 13 game against the Patriots, that first drive, he could have just stepped out of bounds. He gets dusted.
He had already gotten the first down. Like there was no additional gain really, like a couple yards. Like give me a break. And he takes that. That's a legal hit, man. You can't let yourself get hit like that.
Correct. So I feel like the coaching staff just feels like he won't protect himself, so they have to protect him. So we can't count any of the designed rushing stuff. He still will scramble probably a few times because that's just who he is. Like he's going to scramble. But we want them. You can't scramble if you're not dropping back though. So it's like that's what my worry was. Like, were they just doing that in the game because they were like, we can't, like he's gonna not protect himself as a passer either. So it's just a wild card. It takes guesswork, like you said, but the matchup is alluring enough to where if they do drop back and throw, he can have efficiency. They have matchup advantages here. So we just hope that they do let him throw.
Yeah, the issue in some ways is that the Commanders' run defense is also not good. So the Commanders don't have Daniels. They don't have a great run game. The Giants have the worst run defense in the league, but the Commanders are one of the least suited teams to be able to take advantage of that. So maybe the Giants are like a little bit better on defense than usual. So I can see, a guy who's had 3 really conservative game plans so far coming up with a pretty conservative game plan in this spot. Like it would make a lot of sense.
Right.
So yeah, it's a little boom bust. I agree with you about Dart kind of being a strange cash game quarterback that way, and maybe more of a tournament type of guy. But tournament wise, I think he is kind of interesting. Wandale, Theo. I think Theo Johnson is not someone I'm normally that excited about, but had decent target per out run last week and more than decent. He was at 33% last week. He's still only at 17% for the season, which is not great, but it's not terrible. And so he's someone I could see like as part of a run heavy game plan, maybe some play action around the goal line type of stuff. We get there with Theo and get a touchdown, but Wandale obviously kind of the clear cut number 1 wide receiver. Thoughts on the backfield, because I've seen
there's some stuff. I think it's interesting because so like Wandale's season long stuff is like completely manipulated by who's in and out of the lineup. But the matchup
with neighbors.
Well, Slayton, particularly.
Slayton.
Well, his best 2 games this season have come without Jackson Dart. It was the Russ game against the Cowboys.
Jameis was just feeding him.
Yeah. So with Dart and Slayton on the field, Robinson only has 2 more targets than Darius Slayton, and he's 0.83 yards per out run and 4.6 air yards per target. But the problem is like you want to attack Washington through the slot in short. It's like this is like kind of the matchup for that. like we talk about their linebackers, but they're getting killed by slot receivers. 46.6% of the receptions they've allowed to wide receivers have come from the slot. That's the highest rate in the league. They've also allowed 28th in yards per target to those slot receivers, 27th in touchdown rate. So even if those are kind of damning metrics for his usage, like this is still a matchup that facilitates like that role. He's third on the team in receiving yards with Dart and Slayton on the field. Theo Johnson has more receiving yards than him. He has 150 fewer receiving yards than Slayton when they've been on the field together with Dart. So and it kind of tracks because Dart is one of these guys. Like he's either going to scramble or he's trying to push. He's trying to push that thing down the field, man. Like,
he sure is.
So Slayton is kind of interesting by those, but the matchup does lean itself more to Theo, more to
I think it's Theo
Wandale.
for me.
Yeah. I also lean Theo if you're picking a guy because when Dart's played, he has 33% of the end zone targets. So you do get a little touchdown equity with him too.
Yeah, he just watching them play, he really does seem to look for Theo Johnson way more. Maybe it's like a Purdy Kittle thing, the way they've kind of.
And these Washington linebackers, I know maybe it's addition by subtraction with Wagner being out, but Frankie Louvu is he has no reason guarding anyone at this point either.
Right.
He should just be rushing the passer. Jordan McGee is the other guy that they have. He hasn't been good. All of them, all three linebackers are allowing a quarterback rating of over 100 when targeted.
Oh my God.
And Theo's a good athlete too. Like he's just a better athlete than all these guys.
Well, that was his thing. We didn't know who Theo Johnson was really until he worked out, and then it was like, oh.
Well, all the Penn State guys are good athletes. You guys got to remember that.
Yeah, he kept Tyler Warren on the bench.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah. The backfield here. Devin Singletary's been pretty involved. He had more carries than Tyron Tracy against the Patriots. And he's been kind of in the mix for 3 weeks now, getting a decent amount of carries. I don't love Tracy here because I think Singletary is going to be involved and I'm not even sure we're going to get that much passing. And Tracy actually had a 4% target share last week. So we can't necessarily even count on a ton of receiving volume from him. So do you have any more optimism on the backfield than I do?
No, because it's both guys. If it was one guy, I think I'd be more confident in, with Tracy kind of coming back this week. He left that Patriots game, but you kind of need someone to have the whole, control of the backfield.
Yeah, right.
When you look at like the best Giants running back performances for fantasy football, it's usually because either one guy's been off the field or they've leaned into one guy. Because there was a couple games that actually gave Tracy like a bit larger workload, and then Dart also has a lower throw rate to running backs, which checks out with the reduced. Again, he's going to scramble or throw it deep. Like that's what he wants to do. In his heart of hearts, that's how he wants to play the game of football. Kafka's trying to contain this thing, but eventually, like it's like when you try to contain the like the explosion, right? Like eventually, it's just gonna find a way out. Like it's just gonna you can't
bottle Dart up.
You can't, man.
I agree. I mean, maybe don't draft Cam Scatterbo, who's like the exact same personality that's just gonna enable
they just feed off each other.
Impulses. Yeah, they clearly. I've never seen two players feed off each other more than those two. And I don't know if you saw, but Scatterbo's walking again, so he can be on the sidelines if he wants. So
they cannot have Scatterbo be on the sideline. Like he has to watch the game from home. Like,
they need him at home. They really do need him at home. Oh man, yeah. It's I want Dart to just protect himself a little bit more so we can get. I love the energy of it. Just don't take too many unnecessary hits, please.
Yeah.
On the Commanders side, if I was going to play one of these quarterbacks in cash, it would be Mariota. He's 5,000.
Agreed.
And gets a really good matchup. I don't think the Commanders will be super, super conservative the way I am worried that that the Giants will be. I guess I'm a little worried they'll be conservative here. They have been more conservative with Mariota in those games with Mariota playing. They have a -5% PROE, -14% on 1st and 10. Some of the games he's appeared in though have been kind of over, and they're just like the Commanders have given up multiple times this year, by the way, including
he's been
last week
bad in
against the Vikings.
all 3 games he's come off the bench. He's been bad, and then starts he's been good, except for the
Starts he's been good. Right. Yeah. So, but the thing I like about Mariota is he's attacking downfield at a high rate. Terry McLaurin's back and has actually been pretty efficient. In a limited sample this year, but still. And then you get this Giants defense that's been really bad against the run, but also bad against the pass. So like Mariota to McLaurin is kind of intriguing to me here. What are your thoughts on this offense?
Yeah, that's what makes this game kind of fun. Is that neither defense is good. In anything
bad, you might even say.
Yeah, the Giants are 31st in yards allowed per game. The Commanders are 30th. The Commanders are allowing 2.69 points per drive. That's 30th. The Giants are 252. That's 29th. It's like this game, this total feels crazy low. Like I mean, we don't give out a lot of betting advice. This total feels crazy, man. Like because when you get these 2 teams that are like kind of bottom barrel teams, but you put them together, it could be good. Like we saw Titans Browns last week or Falcons Jets 2 weeks ago. But so this game could be just outright fun.
The other thing about this game is I'm kind of thinking through that is like this could be one of those games that kind of sucks for a little bit and then gets really fun.
Correct.
Late, because the defenses are so bad that if these teams just start to wake up,
they'll probably just come out. Both teams will try to run early.
Yeah. This first quarter, you skip. Just skip this first quarter. It's gonna suck.
Yeah, if you play guys in this game, you'll just be mad. Like if you play Terry McLaurin, don't watch the start of this game.
Do not. Don't add us in the second half. Wow, great call. 2 targets, 0 yards.
Yeah, come back later. Yeah, come back later for it. But yeah, I mean that's what makes this game appealing. I'm in on Mariota having a really high floor, potentially high ceiling. McLaurin looks really good in this spot. Giants have allowed 21 catches on throws 20 or more yards downfield to wide receivers. That's 30th in the league. They're 24th in points per game allowed to outside receivers. They put their guys on islands. Terry's looked really good. The 2 games he's been back. I mean, they just got flooded last week. It was just there was no recovery from the start of that game against the Vikings, and who have been really good.
So sad. You just get flooded by the JJ McCarthy Vikings. Well, there was nothing we could do.
Nothing we could do. We just pack it in.
Against JJ. We were going against 9, man. What do you expect? Come on.
Yeah, and we have the Zach Ertz injury, which could help Deebo Samuel too, because they're probably gonna mix in Ben Sinnott, but we're gonna see John Bates, we're gonna see Yankoff, like those dudes are gonna play. So I think it probably helps Deebo the most, but that's a little guesswork on my end.
We're always learning names in an NFL season. I didn't expect to learn the name Yankoff. That's
Colston Yankoff.
Colston Yankoff. I didn't know we were gonna learn. It's like I narrated that. I was just like, okay. I guess
I've never wanted a player to be good more than Colston Yankoff.
I mean, talk about.
I don't want to be yanking off in the. I don't want to be yanking off in the box score. I want to be.
We're roster baiting anytime we put Yankoff in the line.
Because I've already seen people do the Sinnott is the new Trey McBride, because obviously second round pick.
No.
Cliff Kingsbury, Zach Ertz ACL. We're just repeating the cycle. And I'm just like, well, this dude also doesn't play tight end, so it's tougher.
Yeah, that is tougher when you think about it. And I think it's more like the Packers, where we have Tucker Kraft, and now we have some guys. That's what I think we're gonna get. So
that's why I said it might help. This thing might just matriculate to gives Deebo the Deebo's the beneficiary.
I like that call. I've been thinking of it as kind of it concentrating to the wide receivers, but I like calling out Deebo specifically as someone who might benefit from more of the short yardage stuff. So
right. I mean, it's
agree.
that or Noah Brown, right?
Right. Yeah, Noah Brown's the 3rd wide receiver again. 78% route participation last week. Thoughts on the backfield? Chris Rodriguez is set up really well here, but he was limited in practice. We don't have a practice report on him yet, I don't believe.
I looked before the show. I looked before the show, and there wasn't anything yet.
If he goes, what are your thoughts?
Awesome.
If he misses, I think JCM is kind of interesting. But
correct. Yeah, he has to miss though.
He has to miss. He has to miss. Yeah.
And with him kind of being limited on Thursday, it's probably a sign he'll be up. Cliff Kingsbury was talking him up again last week. They just got scripted out of the game, and that's the risk you run with his archetype anyways. We kind of talked about him last week. Like, well, could he be interesting? Could he not be? And then you find out like he got scripted out. You need this to be a Washington tight game or them leading, but it is a good matchup for him if you want to do a pay down running back type. And then if he were to miss, JCM would be in a real good spot.
Yeah, if he were to miss, then what are we looking at with JCM? 4,000? No, 4,400.
44. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a pretty strong play. Rodriguez is 49. I don't think it's crazy. There's been there's been crazier plays in DFS than
no. I mean, if you're
Rodriguez
playing him,
49.
that's how. This is what you're doing when we get to that Rams, because the Rams game, because now that the Lions have become so concentrated after the Laporta injury, like all the guys are expensive. Like I've tried, like it's really hard to build the lineups around that game with like where it's bringbacks, unless you're doing things like Chris Rodriguez or Mitchell Tinsley.
Yep. Yeah, and we'll see again by the time we get to the Packers. Maybe we'll know about the Josh Jacobs situation. But that if Jacobs is playing, then it's going to be even tighter of a slate.
Right.
All right, let's go to the next game, which is the Raiders at Eagles. Kenny Pickett revenge game.
He got a ring. He got a ring? How much revenge does he need?
I don't think he needs any.
Yeah. They let him throw a pass in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
which we
it's almost a Make-A-Wish situation.
Which we threw a big party. I went to the Super Bowl last year. We're not to the game. We watched it at Sigmund Bloom's house. We just went to partake in the New Orleans festivities with I was like Ian Harditz and Chris Allen. And we had as a group, bet the over 1.5 or over 2.5 players to throw a pass. And it was, Mahomes, Super Bowl, like this someone with a weird throw pass. And they brought in Pickett at the end of the game, and he just threw like a pass into the ground for no reason, but we got to hit the bet, and like everyone's going crazy, like, yay,
That's such a good Kenny Pickett sweat of him just turfing a ball.
There was no reason for him to throw either. Like the game was already won. Like they were just running out the clock and they let him throw it, but it hit the bet, and we were like, everyone's going crazy.
That's so good. Oh man,
Bloom's looking at us like, you degenerates. Like,
no, come on, that's the best there is. just winning like that.
Yeah, it's awesome though. But he's starting, unfortunately.
Yeah, he is. Although, is it unfortunate?
Yeah,
I'm not even sure it is, man.
Everything's so bad with this team.
So here's Geno Smith this year. Worst. Every quarterback below him is a rookie. Every single one. So he's just below Jake Browning. Here's Kirk Cousins. This is before the Thursday night game. Joe Flacco, Davis Mills, Russell Wilson, Tyrod Taylor, Justin Fields, Tua. So these are the other not so great quarterbacks this year. But Geno's been worse than all of them, and by a lot in some cases. Mm-hmm. He's not Cam Ward or McCarthy in terms of inefficiency, but he has not been good at all. The going to Kenny Pickett. I've got another chart here. Yeah, I threw Pickett on the same chart. So Pickett's career efficiency would be here, just below Tua. However, if I were to take Geno's career efficiency, he'd probably be like over here.
Yeah.
So the problem is that we're taking the Pickett we know, and we're putting him behind a terrible offensive line in a bad situation. And what does that do? That probably creates an additional penalty. And so it's very, very possible that Kenny Pickett ends up being like significantly worse than Geno Smith. But Geno's been so bad that I'm kind of willing to, it's not up to me, but I'm still willing to see what we got here.
That's fair. It's just such a dire situation, right? Like I saw Colton Miller was practicing, but he's probably not going to play this weekend.
That would be a big deal if he plays.
Yeah, I saw that. But the receiving group is bad. They actually remembered they drafted.
People don't know he's like a star left tackle. Like this offensive line stinks, and it's like adding one of the better left.
They've been down their two best linemen all year because Powers Johnson's been out since the middle of the season. But they remembered they drafted Jack Besh last week. They actually played him. But the receivers are bad. They're putting Bowers in a spot that's like not exciting. Like he keeps getting touchdowns, which helps, but he's facing it's just a tough matchup too against Vic Fangio, like outside in the cold weather. Like it's just like I don't know. It's hard for me to just like to be excited. I'm willing that he could be better for the Geno Smith, but like, what are we actively doing with this offense this week? You're playing
You're
Bowers,
praying for Bowers touchdowns. That's what. Yeah,
and
but
you're
I don't know
probably
that you're.
playing JT because of the just volume stuff. But like, he's not even exciting.
No, I have him as like a high end RB2. It's not fun. I did a Trey Tucker Jack Besh comparison. They basically have the same per route profile now, which I mostly said is don't play Trey Tucker.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Eagles' defense is still good. We don't like the Eagles are boring. This game is set up for the Eagles to do the most boring thing ever and get by with it.
Yeah, I mean, they just keep doing the same thing over and over, and it's gonna work this week. They'll be able to be.
This is the
right?
week it's gonna work.
We've seen this with the Packers, where it's like they kind of early on in the season they just like kept doing like the overly conservative thing, and then instead of having a matchup that forced them to change, they like perfectly timed a matchup that just allowed them to do it again, but it would work this time, and that's where we are with the Eagles.
Right.
They're gonna be awful to watch, but they'll be plenty efficient against the Raiders defense and be able to shut down the Raiders on offense. Although hopefully we get some Bowers. But yeah, there's just not much. If you got Bowers, you're starting him. If you got Genty, you're probably starting him. Not much. This just like it's a 13 game slate, and there's going to be some really high scoring games, and there's going to be some game environments like we talked about the Commanders and the Giants, where it's like this isn't a game environment that pops, but it could pop. This is a game environment that I don't see how on earth it pops. We could be higher scoring than we think, but
The best thing you're hoping for is like some magic light bulb turns on week 15 for this Eagles offense, and they actually just understand the assignment and like just whip this team. But how confident are you in that happening?
I couldn't be less confident.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that my confidence would be like that they figure out Saquon Barkley. Like I could see Saquon Barkley going nuts here. I have a really hard time.
And it sounds like Lane's not coming back for another week, which is a bummer. Because if
Yeah.
Lane was back,
That
I
is a
actually
bummer.
might be like talking to being a little bit bullish because Hurts and Saquon have pretty good splits with when Lane's playing. But it sounds like he's going to miss one more game.
Okay, that is a very important note. On the Eagles side, I mean, the Raiders defense is not good. They're not good against the run. They're not good against the pass. I would note they're like not. At one point this season, they looked like maybe we were talking about like a Bengals level defense, and we're not talking about that level. I think they're more bad than like horrifically bad.
Correct.
But still, this is a defense that even with Max Crosby having a really good season, doesn't have a great pass rush overall. They don't blitz, which the Eagles have been. They've had the highest blitz rate per dropback against them. And so, maybe it could be a bit of a reprieve that way, where you're not getting a ton of quick pressure, which the Eagles have struggled against. They're allowing quick pressure at the fourth highest rate. They're facing the highest blitz rate per dropback. So this could be like a little bit, maybe I am talking myself into the Eagles a bit where they
Well, no, on
look
paper
better.
it's there. On paper it's there for them. It's just
Yeah.
how much. Again, it's the confidence factor.
Yeah, I mean, AJ Brown has been really strong
been
over the last
good.
3 weeks. Yeah. And we were like, what's up with AJ Brown? Last 3 weeks, 2.68 yards per out run, then 4.0, 2.33. I mean, he's been awesome.
It goes back further. Since week 6, he's the wide receiver 5 in yards per out run.
Wow. Yeah, week 6, 2.16, then 4.65. Then he had a couple down games and then
Mixed in.
turned it back on. So yeah, I mean, he's probably the piece that you are the most excited about here, right? But from a DFS perspective, it's not as fun. I did have him as like a high end wide receiver too. You could talk me even into a little higher than that. But
Yeah, I had him like right on the line, like right.
Yeah. Yep.
Right there, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and it was more just worried about the passing volume for this team this game.
Totally. Do you have any interest in these Eagles pieces in DFS? Because as we're talking about, like they are set up to look much better than they have recently.
Yeah, I mean, if we come to Saturday night, and we usually when I'm building everything and they're tracking to like not be popular, I probably will at least throw a stack out there in a single entry just for the sake of what the hell.
I like it. I think this game environment I stand by is not going
that's
to
the
pop.
main problem.
Can the Eagles just do their thing? Like back remember 3 years ago now where they were just like rolling and like AJ Brown just like stomped the Steelers and then they pulled the starters. Like, can we get back to that? Like
And Hurts
that.
isn't running. And that, like we talked about with Dart, like you're removing something that was like a feature, not a bug. Like, especially for this player, especially. Because right now he's been a top 6 scorer 3 times this season. That's it. Like, he's had some okay floors, but like 3 spike weeks. Last year he had 7 top 6 scoring weeks. The week before, year before that, 11.
That's wild.
Like, he's been basically just like an okay QB1, but you're not getting any like big over the top performances. And like this, without any push here, like, how are we expecting that? Like, he would have to have multiple rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. And
but
I
he's
think
down
back,
3.5 designed runs per game for him this year. He was at 6.2, 6, 6.8, and 5.6 the previous 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good setup for the Eagles. I think most likely we'll see like a piece get there. Like, it's a good AJ Brown game, or it's a good Devontae Smith game, or it's a good Goddard game, right? Or maybe we could have Barkley blow up. But it's tough. It really is tough given the lack of pushback and how far away the Eagles seem to be from like when they were just like killing teams in 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Saquon,
I
I
just don't
guess
have
you
any
could talk
confidence
me
to get
into
back there.
Saquon. I think you can talk me off of just like being like an okay play regardless. Like, if you're just playing him, but then I'd rather play Derrick Henry. Like,
It's more about like the salary for me, like 7,100, and the lineup kind of becomes about Saquon this week. It's like, I don't know.
right.
There's
Correct.
so many expensive plays I like this week. I don't think he's a bad play at all. You could definitely
That's how I feel.
see him get there for sure, but it's not one I'm super excited about.
I mean, I'm more confident in Travis Etienne than I am Saquon Barkley.
I think I am too. I honestly think I am.
But
we'll talk about him. There's maybe a little bit of concern I have. There's
some. Yeah, you can go to that one next because
let's talk about it right now. So yeah, Travis Etienne set up well here against this Jets team that's going to be starting Brady Cook.
And Brady Cook's the sole reason people think Luther Burden's a slot receiver.
Go on.
Because he can't throw anywhere besides 6 yards downfield. That's why he came in and threw to Mason Taylor and Jeremy Ruckert the entire game last week. That's why Mizzou had to use Luther Burden the way they had to, is because Brady Cook was the quarterback.
This is such a more efficient way of doing what I did a whole breakdown on Brady Cook's versus, because it's kind of interesting, right? You pull out Justin Fields, then you put in Tyrod Taylor, who's kind of like an old Justin Fields and a little bit more reliable, but he's got the same play style. If anything, he's actually a little bit more aggressive downfield in terms of his deep ball rate. But I pulled, so I was like, let's look at the deep passing, because I think this kills AD Mitchell. The whole point was I think this kills AD Mitchell.
Absolutely.
Like, it's over.
It was fun. Listen, we got one.
And I have a bunch of AD Mitchell in best ball, and he's been a helpful piece. So I do not want to be writing this, but it's over. Until we get Taylor back or Fields, Mitchell's dead. I think ADOT's over the past, since joining the Jets, ADOTs have 17.8, 26.4, 14.8, 13.8. If you look at deep ball rate, Taylor has a deep ball rate of 12.7% per 30 attempts. That'd be 3.8 deep throws. Fields is at 6.9 per 30 attempts. That would be 2.1 deep throws. Cook has 30 attempts so far, hasn't thrown a deep ball. So we don't even know what his rate is. We might get another 30 attempts before we get a deep ball. But I looked at his college numbers. Big time deep throw rate of 3.6%, which is just behind where Kirk Cousins was in college. Fields was 5.7, which matched Drake May. Taylor was not far behind those guys at 5.4%. Cook had an ADOT from a clean pocket of 8.5 and then jumped to 11.5 under pressure, which is very similar to where Kenny Pickett was. He was 8.5 and 11.8. That kind of gives you a sense of the type of passer we're talking about. That kind of both shows not a very much willingness to pass deep, but also like when you get pressured, sometimes it's because you're looking to let plays develop deep. The pressure exists because you basically took that pressure on to buy yourself a deep opportunity, which, with Tyrod Taylor, he had an 11.7 ADOT from a clean pocket. So that's deeper than Cook's ADOT under pressure, and he was at 17.3 under pressure. Fields was 11.2 with a clean pocket, 13.1 under pressure. These guys are looking to make plays downfield all the time, but especially when there's pressure, and Cook's just a completely different type of quarterback. So, I honestly think he kills the Jets offense, because the one thing we had going was AD Mitchell getting fed targets deep. He's got an 8 out of 17.8 this year and a targets per hour of 23%, which is like a pretty fun combo on a bad team, because you don't need a ton of target volume and you can get there. You don't need a ton of targets to connect, I should say. You're getting enough target volume that's deep downfield, enough air yards that, it's pretty valuable. But it's over now. It was fun while it lasted. Mason Taylor is hurt now.
He's out.
He's out. Okay,
So now
we're dealing with Jeremy Ruckert. Honest to God, Jeremy Ruckert.
Min price.
He might just be Mason Taylor. He's got a 18% targets per out run and 1.27 yards per hour. I think he might be the same guy. Like, I'm not interested in the Ben Sinnott thing. I am maybe kind of interested in Ruckert, although I would want Taylor. I don't think I'm playing any of these guys with Cook.
No. Yeah, no. It'd be pure punt. He's a pure punt. And again, like, even people that want to play Sinnott, I get it. Like, I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum that was like, dude, I'm playing this guy for this particular reason. He's a cheap ass tight end to be on the field. Please, sure. But not talking you out of that at any level. So if someone wants to punt with Ruckert because he gets them to that salary, gets them to a lineup that they love outside of Ruckert, by all means, throw it out there. But yeah, having any faith,
I would be like almost excited to punt with Ruckert if we had Taylor.
Correct. Because the other thing too is, like, I think they're just going to get flooded because the Jaguars have flooded all these bad quarterbacks of late. Like, they crushed Riley Leonard when he came in the game on Sunday. Yeah, the week before, Cam Ward, they did absolutely nothing. 2 weeks before that, the Chargers went to Jacksonville and scored 6 points. They actually had their fewest yards in a game in like 30 years. So
Herbert was 4th percentile in EPA per play in that game.
So, like, I mean, and I don't know if the Jaguars actually have a good defense or not. I don't know, because they've played all these bad quarterbacks too of late. But what's Brady Cook? Like, what's
exactly? It's good enough. It's good enough. If you're a good quarterback, you can cook against this defense. We've seen plenty of examples of that. But if you're not good, I'm worried about you.
And I over chased the Jaguars, I think, for a section of the season because of the Geno Smith game. But like, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing with the Jags is that you get passing volume typically, but this is the Jets, so we can never count on pass volume with the Jets. They sometimes they have given up multiple times. They just run the ball nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not gonna, if my path to value is betting on the Jets to throw it a bunch, like, that is thin as hell.
Correct.
Breece Hall, the volume is there. I was excited about him last week, and you know what? I was right. 82% of the carries. How am I supposed to know Tyrod Taylor's going to get hurt right away? I can't control these things. He got fed 75% of snaps, 82% of carries. Cook, I guess, apparently can't throw to the running back. 3% target share, which is pretty devastating.
Yeah.
But it's all Hall. He's the backfield now. They literally thought this was like the most overconfident coaching staff I've ever seen. They come into the season, they're like, we got 3 guys. We're going to play all these guys. Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. Then other teams are like, hey, great. How about you play Isaiah Davis and we take Breece Hall? And then since considering what life without Breece Hall would look like, they've given him 71, 72, 71, 88, and 75% of snaps. At some point, the light bulb went off about what the other options are. So I do like that. But I have him as a low end RB2 for season long.
You just almost have to.
Yeah.
Because the matchup is crap too. Like, not even we were expecting the offense to say, like, literally be subterranean at this point in this game.
It could be so bad.
I mean, the Jaguars have allowed one running back to hit 90 total yards in a game this year, and it was Christian McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not a good spot either. It's like
not a good spot.
It's just a culmination of everything. It's just dark.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty rough. You do, maybe when Taylor gets back, things will get better. But
I mean,
is,
if you're playing Brees Hall
rough.
because you have to, because of the volume, like at that point in your lineups, you're just hoping like something happens, like a pass interference in the end zone or something stupid, and your guy gets in the end zone.
You're hoping he takes a screen to the house,
Yeah.
something like that, which we know he's capable of, but
Yeah.
it's going to be fluky.
The down-to-down efficiency for this offense is going to be abysmal.
Oh my God. It's going to be rough, yeah. All right, Jaguars. We've got Trevor Lawrence coming off his most efficient game of the season, going against a pretty bad Jets pass defense. Let me get your thoughts on the Jags first. I'm kind of like intrigued by Trevor Lawrence this week, and I'm not sure if I'm crazy.
Well, you should. He's thrown for 8 yards for pass attempt in 3 straight games. How many times do you think in his career before this he's done that?
Well, let's say 0 in the Urban Meyer year. now, what am I? Is it how many times in 3 straight games, or just 8 yards?
No, three straight games in a row.
3 straight
throwing
games.
for 8 yards. Just once in his career has he done this
Okay.
before. He's never done it 4 straight games, but he also has multiple passing touchdowns in 3 straight games. He's been a really solid quarterback over like the past month, and I do think that the Jacoby Myers addition has to play at this because they have a guy playing that role in the offense that's suited to play that role. And maybe it could have been Travis Hunter at this point. It
might have been. He might have been there now. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just never.
But
got
it is a
that
little
development.
tricky when you have like a rookie playing like a
correct
somewhat of a safety blanket role.
But I do think that Jacoby Myers being in like that Chris Godwin type role has like made, because Brian Thomas was in that role, but he was playing it out of position. And now it might help Brian Thomas that he can play outside. I'm waiting to see though, because Parker Washington looks like he's going to play, and we haven't seen like all 3 guys play together. And then the other thing is what we talked about. So since the Jaguars week 8 bye, they're 30th in drop back rate. Like, so I mean, I look at this and I'm just like, I expect Tootin to get more involved than he was last week after the fumble, but it just looks like a big running game. Yeah, it looks like a big running game for the Jags.
Yeah. I agree.
And the Jets are bleeding out right now in the run game.
Yeah, they really, I mean, what would you do if you're they can't do this again, right?
They have to scorch the earth again, man. And
they have to clean house, right?
Yeah. Over the past month, the Jets have allowed 5 RB1 scores in their last 4 games, 6 top 20 scoring running backs in their past 4 games.
What's the hope? What has this season provided? It reminds me of the Patriots last year, where it's just like
you have to just reset it, and
you have to reset it. There's nothing about this season where you go, well, at least is that your impending free agent running back looks okay. That's your well at least. I guess at least AD Mitchell can sometimes do something.
They acquired some draft picks for their good defensive players.
You have more draft picks than you used to, which is a pretty good at least. But on the field, it's really nothing. So, God.
No, there's nothing to feel good about. And it's a bummer because no one knows. I don't think we even know if Tanner Engstrand was good or not. And who cares?
I think we know. He's not good. This dude's not good. Like, I mean, there's little thing, you you're in situations where it's like, all right, you got to pass. We're putting you in a position where now you got to play left-handed. What's that look like? And it's like, I don't have a left hand. I only play right.
That's true. Like, all right, that's true though. That should count. That should count.
It counts a lot to me. And this stuff with Braylon Allen and everything, I thought was just like uber dumb at the time, and has aged even more poorly. It's like, dude, you didn't assess your roster well. You didn't build an offense that was at all interesting. Or anyway, I've got some thoughts. But we move to the Jaguars here with them running more. I completely agree. I
like the passing matchup while they're throwing. I just don't know how much we're going to be throwing.
Well, yeah, I mean, in that sense, I'm kind of intrigued by Brian Thomas here, who is a deep threat now. They've moved him into that deep threat role with Jacoby Myers. And Jacoby Myers last week had a 30% targets per route run. It's kind of clearly the number one that way. But Thomas, the last 4 games, has had ADOTs of 14.3, 17.4, 15.7, and 25.8. So this isn't entirely connect because the first one of those was before they got Myers, but actually the second one was as well. But they've been moving him into a deeper role. And if you look at the way you can attack the Jets through the air, they allow explosives, they protect the middle of the field well, but not so great outside the numbers, which is honestly where I think Lawrence wants to live a little bit, and then where Brian Thomas is now. And this is overall a pretty weak pass defense and not a good pass rush. So if you're like, hey, let's have some longer developing deep shots to Brian Thomas, this is a good spot for it. And like Trevor Lawrence coming off his best game of the year, but 57% completion percentage in that game, minus 2% CPOE in that game. Like he's still, and this is the thing with Lawrence. I went back and looked.
It's just not going to change. Like
he's not going to change. His CPOE has been between 0 and minus 5% in every year. It's at minus 5% right now. His completion percentage has been between 60 and 66%. He's at 60% right now. And he's been at both those low numbers before. He's not setting new lows now. He's just kind of he's tying those lows. It's just like he's a boom bust quarterback he likes to throw outside deep, but this is a defense that now maybe this isn't the right slate for it. This might be like more of an 11 game slate type of mindset, but with some lower scoring totals, because I don't think Lawrence is going to like nuke here because of the run game stuff.
He's like probably going to get like 16 to 20 points.
Yeah. Yeah. But like a single stack to Thomas is at least something I've thought about.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like everything for the passing game. It just feels like a game where, if you play this game out, most times the median outcome is them just doing what they've tried to do, run the ball a lot, and they're probably going to be able to.
Do you think like ETN's going to cede some work to Tootin? I think Tootin got benched basically, but his carry shares have been pretty good recently. So
I think we'll see him again play, but it's still like we just have to we have to accept that Travis Etienne's not going away.
Well, it's not that he's not going away, it's that he might be like the guy. And I think he might be the guy this week. I'm not 100% sure he's the guy, but if he is the guy, like this is an awesome setup for him.
Yeah, it's a real good spot for him.
The one guy, if Brian Thomas might feel a little bit too thin on a slate where spending 5,700 is not easy to do. Like you got to think about that 5,700. So
yeah, because like Jameson Williams is like 400 above him.
Right. So that you might be out on that. I get it. Brenton Strange.
I don't hate it.
Maybe interest you in some Brenton Strange.
I mean, we saw like the target distribution too, and you're talking about the Myers Thomas stuff. The wild card is Parker Washington, but it's almost a direct split though from the opening like 6 weeks of when the Bucks had Godwin and Evans. Like Evans' target share was completely way down to open last year for his career, and then it took off when Godwin got hurt. So it's like it's like he's running back kind of the same playbook now. He's finding the guys to fill the right spots. Maybe Parker Washington's Jalen McMillan. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. But Strange has been like hit. So he has a 1.84 yards per route run this year, 19% targets per route run. He's been pretty involved. And then last week he had a 22% first read target rate, 26% targets per route run, only 1.17 yards per route run. So it didn't work. But they've been trying to. It's like you get these different mixes where he doesn't run a ton of routes. He has a really good yards per route run, or he runs a lot of routes and he doesn't get a ton of targets, or he gets a ton of targets, but then the targets don't connect. So it's like he's not kind of putting it all together. But I do think Brenton Strange has more upside than it might feel like. He's 4,200, so he's not like super cheap at tight end, but he's someone. I might revise this and say Trevor Lawrence to Strange would be the way I'd single stack this game, because then you get quarterback taken care of pretty cheaply and tight end taken care of reasonably cheaply.
I take it.
All right, and yeah, ETN is a pretty ETN's what 6,500, so he's not cheap, but I mean he has a legit ceiling in this matchup. Like this is a potential multi-touchdown game. Scoring from outside of 20 yards because he's been pretty explosive this year. Maybe punches another one in, that type of thing. So I do like the ETN play. It's a little boom bust, but the ceiling is definitely there.
Mm-hmm.
Cardinals at Texans. Can Jacoby Brissett keep it rolling against the best defense in the league?
They haven't allowed more than 225 passing yards in a game. This is the ultimate test, right? Like, if he does it again, he's gonna throw 40 times. We know that.
We know that.
That's happening. But Paris Johnson's out. Huge deal. They already had lost Jonah Williams a month ago.
Yeah.
So they're down to tackles 3 and 4 against the Texans. Not great. Not great.
No.
They're also out a bunch of defensive players again this week because like they're just circling the drain. Like this team, all the Texans. There's not a Texan you could tell me isn't a good play in this game. They have their highest implied total of the season. Pretty significantly.
I like the Texans here, man. I like the Texans.
Yeah, I think
I like the Texans offense. I
like tried to bring up to high-low that Stroud was going to be underplayed on the slate. But I worry about the Lawrence factor. Like, how much ceiling do we have?
Was he on Stroud? I feel like his specialty is getting these underplayed.
Yeah. Yeah, he was okay with it when I brought it up. I do worry about the Lawrence factor, but I have more confidence in the Cardinals doing something than the Jets.
Let's say what that something is, because I have a ton of confidence in the Cardinals doing something, and that something is stopping the clock.
Yes.
They're going to incomplete passes stop the clock. We're going to have a lower time of possession because their possessions don't run time off the clock.
Never.
So we're gonna get the ball back. I mean, that might be an extra drive. They might pass enough to get maybe 2. For the Texans, I mean, not the I don't care about the Cardinals. Cardinals are going to do. They're not scoring points here, I don't think, but they're going to throw it. So,
and I don't think the Texans are going to slow down until they necessarily have to, because remember, this is a must win for them too. Like, they're all must wins for them the rest of the way out. So I think they might be a little more aggressive than we think, especially with the Nick Chubb injury. I like the spot for Woody Marks, but I still, when I look at, because Woody Marks can be popular regardless. But Stroud, Nico Collins, and if you want to get cute and add like a Jaden Higgins or a Dalton Schultz, man, like, all right.
I'm not even sure that's cute with Schultz. Schultz is just a good play. He's just a straight up good play. He's been I think he had 89% route participation last week, and he's been pretty solid this year. Like, I was a little bit worried about him. They were playing some Cade Stover at the end of last year and stuff, but like he's seems pretty locked in, and I think you can just have this as like the Texans offense looks a little bit better here. I don't think you need them to score like a ton of points. Like, Stroud's 5,200, Schultz is 4,100, and Collins is 67. I think like that double stack again, like I don't need the Cardinals to like push back. I need them to just be a little bit better than most teams can be at keeping volume in the game against an elite defense. And I do trust the Cardinals. Like, the one thing I fully trust with the Cardinals is that they will attempt to throw the ball. They've had just such commitment to the pass now. They're the only team to hit a 75% plus pass rate 5 different times this year. And you know what? They're about to hit it 6 times because they're going to chuck it. They're going to chuck it.
Yeah, and people don't realize that their pass rate was really high actually with Kyler too.
Yeah, it was.
It was, just the offense was not as good, but
they hit an 81% pass rate against the Seahawks in week 4. So they were throwing. Not as much as this, but they were throwing.
No, and like I said, it's not a matchup. Like, I'm not gonna, because the thing with Brissett is like he's been getting there, but just been getting there. Like, he's like that. He gets you to 20 points, but it's like, do you need him to get 25? No, man. I get to here. Right. This is where I get to. So, and then even if we dock that a little bit for the Texans, so it's like, I don't think I'm going back to Brissett. I'm probably not going back to Michael Wilson at his cost, but I think he's going to get a shitload of targets. They're going to throw the targets are going to be there for both these guys. It's just how much efficiency is going to be there.
Wilson looks like when his price went up, I think by about 1,000.
Yeah, they finally gave him a solid nudge.
Yeah,
because you know why? He's freaking 40% owned every week.
Right. I mean, he's still gonna have a little, like, he's not gonna be completely unowned this week, but
no, because he's been so good. Like, gamers will click that button until they get burned.
Nico Collins is $100 more than Michael Wilson.
Ludicrous. What a life.
Nico Collins is kind of an awesome play.
I think he's a great play.
Love it. I've considered making him the cover boy, but then I was like, if I make him the cover boy, then the first thing that people will read is about the Cardinals offense against the Texans defense. I was like, I can't start my article that way.
I mean, these past
Too
5
sad.
weeks, the Cardinals are getting absolutely decimated. Like they're
Yeah, man.
30th in completion rate, 32nd in yards per pass attempt, 32nd in touchdown rate allowed. They're terrible against the run. But granted, the Texans might not be able to run great anyways, but they'll run here.
They'll run okay. They'll run enough.
They'll run
And
okay, and they'll run enough. But
They'll
plus,
keep the chains moving.
the other thing about Stroud and Nico is you get leverage on one of the most Woody Marks is going to be one of the most popular plays on the slate for good reason too. Don't get me wrong.
I think he's a totally fine play. I'm not suggesting fading him, but when lineups where you don't have them and you've got Stroud and Nico, that's leverage.
Yeah, absolutely. Like to me, that was one of the first things that I thought on the slate that stood out was that cheap. If you're going to play cheap quarterbacks, like Stroud kind of stood out. Indoors, we don't have to worry about anything. So
I like the Stroud Nico stuff a lot, and it's like there's a few different ways. The Lawrence one I floated and stuff, but I like the Stroud Nico stack. I think the most of these types of plays
because your ceiling is really high here with these guys.
The other thing with Stroud, I think there's sort of an anti-Stroud narrative this year that I don't really understand. I know he hasn't been great, and I know we had high expectations for him after his rookie season, and then he wasn't great last year, and this offense has been frustrating like for pretty much the whole year. But he does not have a good offensive line, and EPA per game on a very a very defense oriented team, he's been good. Like he hasn't been great, but like here he is right next to Burrow. Now Burrow's normally all the way up here in the top right, but this has not been like a disastrous season for Stroud, I would say, and this is the type of player who I think has ceiling beyond what we've seen if
and he's shown it in
a little better.
In his best matchups, he's hit. Like he faced that.
Yeah.
Remember he faced Baltimore when they had like nobody left and he had 28.8 points. He faced the 49ers right after the Fred Warner injury and had 22 points. And he had 18.5 points against the Titans. Like other than that, like his schedule's actually been pretty. They've run into pretty tough matchups too, but he's taken advantage of these spots, like the one he has right now, which gives me a little more confidence. If you don't want the matchup to drive the cart, you want to have something for the player, and it's like he's already proven that he's been usable in these spots against these opponents, and that's what makes me think like, all right, we can go to him here.
In 98th percentile in EPA per play in that Ravens matchup, 93rd against the 49ers, 84th against the Titans, and then he's been pretty decent recently. Like the Broncos. And then the Colts, they had Ward.
That's the game he got knocked out of. The Broncos game is when he took the concussion. He took the hit.
You're right. Yeah. Okay. And then he wasn't so great last week as we all.
But that's in Arrowhead. In Arrowhead, Spags is going to give you some business, man.
And the offensive line is a legitimate problem, as we all know. But the Cardinals don't
not here.
Not here. They're good. So yeah, I like the Stroud stuff. Anything? I mean, Cardinals run game we don't even really have to get into. There's not much there, and then the other receivers
they don't run.
So
probably because of this situation too. It doesn't help.
McBride, if you have him anywhere, you're just thankful. There's not really a discussion there. His price has dropped from 8,000 to 7,400. Do you have any interest in DFS?
Also, too, the Cardinals also rolled out 3 starting secondary players.
Oh my God!
I wanted to just throw that out there too.
Texans, baby.
Yeah, it might be that,
and that's why the Texans are our wagon. No,
we would have been a dark horse, man. For sure,
dark horse.
Yeah, man, we kicked a couple teams around. I'm fine with season-long stuff, McBride, and I think you can still get there through volume, but I don't think I'm going to be paying this price this weekend. Just the way I think the way I want to build lineups is not paying top dollar for a tight end against the Texans.
In a week where we could use some salary relief, I would like to play Jaden Higgins, but I don't think it's that great of an idea. I don't know. He's 4,200, and his his route participation dropped to 54% last week.
Yeah.
63% against the Colts. He was like on the rise, it looked like, and now is kind of coming back down. So I'm not sure what the deal is. He's been efficient when on the field, or he's been an efficient target earner, I should say.
Yeah.
He's got 1.43 yards per out run, which isn't
it
great.
looked bad. The opening month of the season, I was because I liked him as a prospect, and
Yeah.
I was like, and now
he was,
at least I'm like,
pretty overpriced. I mean, that much is clear.
yeah,
From
correct.
a best ball draft ADP point of view.
Oh yeah. Also, too, it shouldn't matter this sentence I'm about to say, but it might. Justin Watson's gonna play this week.
Oh no,
he's coming back. It shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
But Nick Caley's done some stuff this year that has made you.
God. I mean, Xavier Hutchinson is playing as much as the rookie, so you cannot rule out Justin Watson.
They did give it was nice to see Jalen Nolan Sunday night play a little bit more. He should be playing more regardless. But hey,
if the projections, if I've run some lineups and Higgins ends up in there on Stroud stuff, I'm not gonna overrule. But he's not someone
But I think you're right. At same price, he's basically the same price as Schultz. And Schultz
I'd
is going to be out.
Schultz for sure.
Schultz is going to be out there every snap.
Yeah.
And the matchup's still good for Schultz too. So
right. And it's been, I think, just as efficient yards per route run. So why not?
So you're getting Schultz. A guy on the field every time, like
he's 1.45 yards per hour run. So they're almost identical in yards per hour run. So give me Schultz all day over Higgins.
And then you fill that tight end spot and you're good. You're just you get out of there.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Browns at Bears. Dude, the offensive line for the Browns.
Yep, it's in real bleak shape here.
They lost Dwan Jones a while ago to IR. He's a starting left tackle. They lost Ethan Posich to a ruptured Achilles last week. Right guard Wyatt Teller, DNP with a calf. Left guard Joel Bitonio, DNP with a knee. Right tackle Jack Conklin's DNP with a concussion. There's a pretty good chance here that they are down all 5 starters on the offensive line this week.
Yes.
Fortunately, they play a Bears team that doesn't have. So here's the thing: Conklin's out. Wyatt Teller's out.
Yeah.
And
Poach is out, and Dwan Jones has already been out. So
Bitonio was limited. He's questionable. So they might. Bitonio is actually their best lineman. So he's
They actually had benched Wyatt Teller.
Well,
in the 49ers game, they pulled him.
Okay. So and who's the other guy? There's some. Yeah, they've got some other.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's not good though.
It's not good. It's not good.
And it's funny because you think 3 or 4 years ago.
It's like, that right guard that you're saying that they lost, they actually already benched that guy.
Yeah, they already. But think about how fast. This is why I always tell people in Dynasty, like when a guy gets drafted to a spot and they're talking about like, look at the offensive line. I'm like, dude, it's so volatile in the NFL. We thought the Browns had the best offensive line in the NFL for like 2 or 3 years, and like, look how fast it's gotten.
It's over. Yeah, the offensive line stuff's crazy because it matters so much, but like, it's just so
in Dynasty, like you just can't. It's so volatile, like year to year, with injuries. And I don't know if you've seen too, like, so I've been tweeting every month. I've been tweeting out this chart that shows offensive line continuity, the teams most often used offensive line in the season and how many plays it's run. And we are down to 11 teams that have had their top offensive line on the field for over 50% of their plays or more with a month to go in the season.
Jeez.
It's real bad. There's some teams that are crazy. Like the Chargers are at like 16% of their offensive plays. It's just real rough. Real rough.
Yeah. It's I mean, the thing with the Browns is that, like, honestly, if Bitonio's been good and everyone else on that team has been so bad that maybe it doesn't matter that 4 of their players are being replaced.
Well, because, also your quarterback allows pressure at the highest rate in the league too.
Yeah. So the Browns, basically, it comes down to how excited are you about Harold Fannin with Njoku out? Although it doesn't really even matter that he's out because he was already running all the routes. But Njoku did catch a touchdown last week. That's the play he got hurt on. So there was, potentially it adds a little bit more value to Fannin. And then how much excitement do you have for Quinshon Judkins, who's going against a Bears defense that you can run on? Now they're road dogs, so that's not the most exciting setup for a touchdown dependent running back, but it's not the worst setup for a running back on the Browns either.
Right. After last week, I think I'm just not going to play Judkins in DFS. If you want to play him in season long, I think that's
Season
fine.
long, yeah.
And both Ford and Sampson are out as well. Ford got put on
Okay.
IR, and they ruled Sampson out today. So at least he'll run some routes this week, which he
That is
hasn't
nice.
done at all. He hasn't done at all. And dude, he's still like on that screen he had last week, that 58-yard screen. He looked explosive, and it made me just realize how bad the situation has been for him. Because like,
He's good.
dude. He was shot out of a cannon. It's like he just hasn't had any opportunities to operate in space this year. And
No, he's a good back for sure.
yeah, so I mean, I'm fine. I think the volume could be there. He's going to run some routes, but like he's not cheap to play in DFS. And like, what kind of ceiling do we have? Fannin, I'm cool with like 4K. He's going to get a bunch of targets. The Bears are beatable in the middle of the field. They've had tight end or linebacker issues the entire season. Fannin, I think, is the one Brown I'm locked in. I'm not going to chase Shador, although it was at least, again, like my whole argument with Shador is like,
he was legit good last week.
At least he's going to throw. He's at least willing to make the game fun. Like if it can. That's my whole crux of it. My whole crux of him is like Dylan Gabriel. They were failing in the most boring way possible. It was like they had 7 condoms on the offense. No, there was no yank off with the Browns offense. So
put yank off in.
There's no yank off. At least Shador is out here, trying to make something happen, and at least it's something. And last week it worked out. Like we hit the big plays.
I agree. He's trying to do fun stuff.
Yeah. So like, yeah. But the
he's
offensive line
losing to the Titans in the process, but he's trying to do fun stuff
at home
with the great defense. Although the Browns defense was not good last week. Their run defense was so bad. Yeah, Harold Fannin. I mean, the shallow ADOT I think helps. 4,000. You can count on a bunch of targets. So I think he's a pretty strong play. And honestly, like I know this is silly, but I really do care if Bitonio goes because I think it's like he's like the one piece where they've been kind of starting a bunch of backup level players around him all year. So if he goes, maybe it doesn't matter that they're down the other 4 guys. But thoughts on the Bears side of this? Dunze was practicing this week, but I was assuming would be out. It seems with the initial reports are like he's gonna miss like 3 to 5 weeks. Yeah, what are you doing?
Like you just don't need to do it here.
Limited all week, questionable.
This is another game that's probably a lot of handoffs. A lot of Manungai, a lot of DeAndre Swift in this game. Because you're just not going to get pushed on the scoreboard, I don't believe. And that's going to allow Ben Johnson to just stay in a script like they did against the Eagles. They might have that kind of efficiency where both guys are going for 100 yards, but they're going to run the ball. Browns have been vulnerable outside. They've actually, even before last week, were starting to bend on defensively. And it's just because you can't operate as a defense at this level when your offense is that bad. Like eventually it just catches up to you. You just can't care. Even in this current NFL era, you can't win with just defense. You can't. You just can't. And the Browns were good.
I would say the Browns are proving that this year.
Yes. But they had already, even since the first 6 games of the year, they were already 18th in yards per carry to running backs. They lost Malik Collins 2 weeks ago. In this season, they have faced 141 backfield runs with Collins off the field. They've allowed 4.7 yards per carry. That's 23rd compared to 3.2 yards per carry on the 154. It's almost a 50-50 split, not just this last game's worth. And they go from literally 1.5 yards carry more.
Wow.
So, and it's just the wrong team to be missing a piece on because the Bears want to run the ball.
It's also a bad team for Caleb Williams because his whole deal is that he, holds the ball a long time, takes on pressure, and then it doesn't matter because he escapes. I don't know if you're escaping against Myles Garrett, man. I don't know if that's going to work. So, I've been kind of a Caleb skeptic in that way where I think, he basically my read on Caleb is that when I believe in the pass rush, I don't believe in Caleb.
Correct.
And when the pass rush is not so fearsome, I mean, I see it too. He looks like Lamar Jackson behind the line of scrimmage. He does that, he makes guys miss in cool ways. He's spinning around. It's fun. But if he's under pressure a lot, in part because he does hold the ball a long time, which creates more pressure, you just don't, like, teams have not been doing that at all against the Browns. Like, you don't hold the ball against the Browns. You get the ball out quickly. And Caleb doesn't do it. He holds the ball consistently for a long time every week. So I think if you're Ben Johnson and look, I mean, this has been an awesome year for Ben Johnson. He looks kind of every bit the guru that was promised, but I think he understands, what he has in Caleb. He's starting to get more out of him. Caleb does look more comfortable in the system over time a bit. And if I was Ben Johnson, if I was going to, try to predict what Ben Johnson was going to do, it'd be, hey, Caleb probably wants to hold the ball against the defense you can't hold the ball against. I'm just going to run it. I'm going to run it a bunch.
I
think
say
they pound the rock.
Our year of doing this show, there's no player we've been more accurate on week to week than Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
it's been identifiable, like, with his skill set, like you said.
Here's what I will take an L on is that we have been pretty accurate with, like, hey, it's a week to play Caleb Williams.
It's a spike week for him or not.
On the Steelers one, I was probably overly negative on that. He still wasn't that efficient, but he was,
he threw 3 touchdowns.
He threw 3 touchdowns. So I'll take an L there. And I'll take an L on thinking that, and we didn't discuss this one because it was the week we took off. This is the Black Friday game. But I would have talked about how he was going to get exposed against the Eagles. And they won that game. But I think this is like that game in that,
Correct.
He was actually pretty inefficient against the Eagles and they still won. I think that that's probably what we're looking at here, where I expect them to win this game pretty easily. But I don't think that Caleb will be super efficient play to play because, he will take pressure when he drops back, and they just lean on the run game here to lead them to victory. All right. I think we can. I mean, you're not playing like these running backs, you're not playing them in DFS or anything.
No,
right?
no.
Yeah, me neither.
No, none of the receivers either, unfortunately. Burden looked good though. In his opportunity.
Burden looked good, but he's 4,800. It's not really cheap enough.
No, he was 3,800 last week, and everyone played him. That's why his salary went up.
Right. And Loveland, I would play if he was running more routes and we had worse tight end options. But there's actually a lot of tight end options this week, and he's running about half the routes.
Yeah, I played a lot of those guys because last week I was playing a lot of Jordan Love stuff. So we had like they just fit in so nicely, the Jordan Love, Christian Watson stacks.
Yeah,
but not this week.
Not this week. All right, Packers at Broncos. Do we have Josh Jacobs' word yet? Do we want to come back? Maybe we'll come back to this one.
He practiced.
Limited?
Yeah, he was at practice. He said they, appears to be in good spirits, whatever, but he practiced. So I imagine he's gonna try to go. We can always do a thing just that, if he's out, but I think he's gonna try to play just it's such a big spot, but he comes with the volatility though, it's not a great matchup. They're on the road. He has touchdown equity, but that's really kind of all you're counting on with him. One thing to note is when he's played hurt, they're reducing his routes. That's like how they're getting him off the field more. Like because he still had a lot of carries last week, but they're getting his routes kind of in a depressed mode. Like he was RB27, I think, last week in route participation.
That's such a funny way to trick yourself into thinking you're saving a guy.
I know, dude. We talk about there's so many things the NFL
like oh yeah, good thing we got his snaps down. Oh, those thing where he kind of jogs over to the side a little. Good thing you saved him, but you did give him 17 carries into the heart of the defense.
Yeah, the 8-man boxes.
Do you think that maybe was hard on his knee at all?
Yeah, he has a reason he's hurt.
Yeah.
Again,
he gave him 77% of the carries against the Bears last week, and then his knee swelled up again. Like, yeah.
But I am really worried about the state of this offensive line in this matchup.
About the Packers offensive line.
Yeah, I mean they're a team that's been just kind of banged up all year. They're another team that because no one has a larger discrepancy when pressured and not than Jordan Love. He literally leads the NFL in completion rate, kept clean, and is dead last in under pressure. It's no different. He has not thrown a touchdown. He's a 0% touchdown rate under pressure this year. Not one touchdown pass. He goes to 31st. He goes the second in yards per pass attempt kept clean to 31st in yards pass attempt when pressured. Like no one has a larger chasm of play to play, like getting pressure or not. And so
they're 16th in EPA per dropback under pressure. So I guess he's not having gigantic mistakes. Otherwise, that would be lower.
Oh yeah, he's protecting the ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Odie doesn't take sacks though. That's his
Yeah.
his other trick is he doesn't take sacks.
But the production dries up completely.
Yeah, and he's a guy I've been on the last 2 weeks for the matchups, but like his last 3 QB1 scoring weeks have all been pretty identifiable. You know, Giants, Lions, Bears last week. I was pushing for him last week. We got there. But this on the road in Denver, this feels like not a spot we're going to go chase.
No. Are you at all interested in Watson, who's just been kind of every week
not really. Like him and Wilson, I'm pumping the brakes. I've been playing those guys religiously, but I also am pumping the brakes on him as well. He hasn't even so Watson's been living on the efficiency and touchdowns, but he hasn't had 90. He hasn't even hit 90 yards in a game yet. So
yeah,
you can hit one. You tell me he hits one, I'll say yeah, he's good enough to hit one. But I don't think this is because like Christian Watson's never the guy that's going to give you like the game where it's like, man, he really just like matriculated a 7 for 95 game.
The other thing with Watson is he's got an 18.5 ADOT, so it's one of those things where so far it's just been like all good, but against the Broncos pass rush, right against Pat Surtain, like it's pretty easy to see actually how like the guy who gets targets 20 yards downfield, all of a sudden the targets dry up against a great defense. So I think he's just more boom bust than like every wide receiver with an 18 ADOT is boom bust. Full stop. That's just a really, really deep ADOT. And he hasn't been boom bust yet, really, in the since returning from injury. But he is, we're going to see some down games unless they start mixing in more intermediate targets. But I don't necessarily expect that. So
I don't either. And Jaden Reed's back, and Jaden Reed came back, and he's gonna get those the quick stuff.
Jacobs I had as a high end RB2 for season long stuff. That it's more like his path to value here is 1, touchdowns, but 2, volume. And so if he's dealing with a swollen knee, it just hurts him. Like I would like, this might seem crazy, but I would be more excited about Wilson than I am currently about Jacobs. No, not even because of cost. I think I would have Wilson as like a better play because I can just project all the volume on you. Like, can I with Jacobs, am I getting the volume? Maybe I'm being overly pessimistic on Jacobs, but I am worried about like, what if his knee swells up during the game? Like, what is, there's probably like 8-9 carry outcomes for Josh Jacobs here, where I think Wilson, at least you'd like.
Well, yeah, if anything, there's an aggravation in game. He also just, because all this is happening, he hasn't given any tournament worthy scores since the Bengals game. He's been getting there for fantasy football on the touchdown stuff, but he's been getting like 17 points, 19 points, 18 points. Like he hasn't gone over 20. The Carolina game, he hit 20. And then that was the last time we saw like a super spike week from him. And it's
at the very least, I think it's roughly equivalent, Jacobs and Wilson. It's just because the volume for Jacobs is, my point being, we can't expect the normal volume we would get with Jacobs, and that's his key to value against this defense. So that's unfortunate.
And no one's allowing fewer yards to running backs on the season than the Broncos. Total yards, that is. That's including, because I brought this up with JT last week when we were talking about the target share stuff. I was like, dude, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if these guys are staying in protection more or not, but like they give up no catches to running backs. And I don't really know the reason. There's probably a smarter person than me that can figure it out, but like running backs have 13.3% of the catches allowed by the Broncos. It's the lowest rate in the NFL. Like the running backs don't get targeted against them. You would figure they would because they are so good at pressure and quick pressure.
That is interesting. It could be that they're just like leaving the guy in because they blitz a lot.
That's what I was thinking. Like, is it just our guy staying in more to protect? Is that the problem? But like, they don't give up catches to running backs.
That is very interesting. The Falcons, I noticed when because I was trying to figure out what was going on with Breece Hall not running any routes against them, and he pass blocked a ton.
One running back
who blitz a bunch.
One running back has more than 3 catches in a game against them. It was on Marion Hampton in week 3. No one else has. They've not had more than 3 catches than any other running back in a game.
Damn. All right.
Yeah, it's just weird, man. But I don't know what it is, but but I'm out on the Packers offense this week. I mean, maybe they surprise me. I'm surprised they're favored in this game because the Broncos are so good at home. They've won 11 straight home games. They're only team undefeated at home. Feels kind of disrespectful for them to be road dogs.
It should be disrespectful. Broncos are fraudulent.
That's fair. That is fair. So maybe that's what it is.
Because it's like, yeah, they've won. Like, and by how many points have they won? And who are they playing?
That's all fourth quarter stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the Broncos.
And we can't trust Bo Nix and even in favorable spots lately. So this was not a spot we're going to trust him either.
Bo Nix ranks quarterback 37 in success rate, 1 spot ahead of Joe Flacco. He's quarterback 16 in EPA per game, just above Lamar Jackson. He is like a massive negative regression candidate. Success rate more sticky of those metrics. And then you've got the Broncos. They rank 9th in point differential, just behind the 8-win Texans, just ahead of the 6-win Chiefs. And of course, they are 11-2. I'm sure you've seen various graphics about, their close wins and winning from behind and all this stuff. So they're a negative regression team with a negative regression quarterback going against a defense that has not been as good as maybe we were hoping, but is still pretty good and generates pressure without blitzing. I think that's very important against a really good Broncos offensive line. So I'm not any more excited about the Packers offense than you are, but I am pretty concerned about Bo Nix facing the Packers here.
Yeah, I would be too, though. I am also concerned about those things.
Yeah. The other thing about the Broncos, this is the thing I'm most interested about this game is, will Sean Payton actually attack on the ground? Will he get aggressive against a Packers defense that is a pretty big run funnel? Teams have a -6% PROE against the Packers and are shifting 4% to the run from their typical PROE. So if you look at the biggest run funnels in the league, only the Bills have a lower pass rate over expected against them than the Packers. So they're meaningfully shifting what opponents are doing. But the Broncos have been, pretty consistently pass first this year. And we've talked about in the past about how losing J.K. Dobbins lost a really consistent element of their offense. R.J. Harvey had a 70% success rate last week, which is a really positive sign for maybe they can get back to what they wanted to be before when they had Dobbins. That would be, if there's like something that I'm hoping surprises us in a really fun way, it would be the Broncos lean on R.J. Harvey here and it works.
Yeah, that's what we need to have happen, I think. It's just we need proof. We talked about last week with Harvey. While we were down on him, we thought the spot at least gave them Broncos a chance to like kind of throw him to the wolves, so to speak, just like make him have to rush the ball a lot last week. Mm-hmm. And they did that, and he was good, and he was good with it. And like we feel really good about it. Wild RJ Harvey stat, he has the most RB1 scoring weeks now of all rookie running backs.
Interesting.
Which is kind of crazy to think about, but maybe that says more about the other guys than him or how it's worked out. But he now has his 5th RB1 scoring week. He's finding ways to get there, which you like.
Scatterbill would be the guy if he had stayed healthy, man.
Yeah, I think so. But now I want to see them prove it against the better team. And so, like, you showed me that you can do it. Now show me that you can punch up and do it. Or is it just gonna be a thing like we only can believe it in these spots? So
right. Because if you're betting on one of these teams to punch up, it's the Packers. The Packers punch up.
Even being down.
Never punch down.
Even being kind of like going through all the things I said, like, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. The Broncos, I don't know if they punch up. They just sort of punch even.
In the middle.
In the middle. They punch directly.
No, the Broncos want this game to be 16-13 going in the fourth quarter, or maybe the whole game. I don't know. Like that's what they want.
Listen, the Packers couldn't want that anymore.
Exactly.
That you guys could not be a better fit for one another. You guys would be so happy in the fourth quarter.
But there's no one here that outside of Harvey you're playing. You might throw Sutton out with, but I actually think the Pat Bryant injury hurts Sutton. So Sutton had been getting targets.
It does.
He had been getting targets because Troy Franklin earned more targets than Pat Bryant.
Yeah, Franklin's better than Sutton, but they took Franklin off the field to play Bryant.
Yeah.
now
that Bryant's out, you don't feel as good about Sutton anymore.
No, you don't. You honestly don't.
Which is wild because they had benched the dude.
They benched him, and he's better than you. the problem
is he's earning more targets. Well, yeah,
they have the same target share on the season, and he was playing as a backup. He was a backup starter, Franklin, and now has the same target share to this point as Sutton. Sutton's been the starter every game.
Because Franklin got benched for other things, but the thing is, he gets open, so he gets the ball thrown to him because he gets open. Then Bo Nix either doesn't throw it accurately to him, he either drops it or then fumbles said play after catching.
Yeah. Well, let's not talk about the fumbles and stuff. The point is that he gets open.
Yeah, the point is, but when they removed Troy Franklin from the field, Courtland Sutton's target share went up.
Yeah. I mean, and also like Franklin's not been great. Like he's got 1.38 yards per out run, but Sutton's at 1.63. So, it's not like he's been some,
correct.
Just the perfect example of efficiency. Shining example is, I think, what I was going for. The Evan Ingram, I think, also gets hurt by Franklin coming back because it was nice to have Pat Bryant on the field for these other guys because Pat Bryant was not getting targeted. 14% targets per out run compared to 22% for Franklin. That's nice if you happen to play alongside Pat Bryant.
Correct.
All right. Let's move on to the Lions at the Rams. And Rich, let's start with the Rams. Would you say they're rolling right now?
They've been rolling.
I might even go so far to say as the Rams, they're a wagon.
This is our wagon, baby. The wagon of the week.
The team's just rolling right now. This team is they're a wagon.
They are a fucking wagon. We're going to have a nice little picnic, load that wagon up. Like we're just, whatever you need to put in that wagon.
They're a wagon.
Yeah, this is our wagon of the week, baby. What does that mean? What does wagon mean? I still love it.
In the spirit of what does it mean, we talked about because the Rams were the wagon of the week last week, if we should mix it up. But I think they kind of have to be the wagon. If the wagon is your wagon of the week and then continues rolling, it should be your wagon of the week again. I mean, a wagon rolls forward, right?
Yeah. I think that's what we settled on. Yeah.
Someone's got to take. It's almost like a belt. It's almost like the the heavyweight champion of the world.
Right.
The Rams still have the wagon belt, so they are the wagon of the week. This has a 55-point total. This game, so this there's going to be a lot of. It's indoors, but we'll talk about the Lions side of this. We actually have some questions. I do not have questions on the Rams side. I think one, they're going to put up points, and two, I think it comes primarily through the passing game. What are your thoughts on the Rams?
100%. We saw Sean McVay last week bring back the 13 personnel. And it made total sense against the Cardinals team that's been banged up in the front seven. They also play like a ton of like quarters, cover four. Like, hey, if you want to do that, we're just going to come out in heavy personnel. Come stop us. And they used their highest rate of 13 personnel, their highest rate on pass plays. But I believe that's going to oscillate. And because where are the Lions beat up on the back end? Brian Branch out for the year. Kirby Joseph, they were hope he was going to come back, and he's not. He had a setback.
Okay.
Yeah. He had a setback. Terrion Arnold, we know, is on IR. Like, you want to be throwing on the Detroit Lions. They also are getting Tutu Atwell back, which can let them play more 11. The Lions have allowed the most. Deep. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the Lions have allowed the most passing yards over the past 5 weeks in the NFL. They're 30th in yards per pass attempt. They've allowed guys like Jameis Winston to have 30-point games against them. Mariota had a 19-point game against them. Like, they're also bad because they're an aggressive defense. They play a lot of man coverage, and they still played a lot of man coverage with their injuries last week even. Because they're so aggressive, they're bad against the play action pass. They're allowing a 9.9 yards per pass attempt against play action pass. It's 27th. They're also allowing a league high 12.1 yards per pass attempt over the past 5 weeks on plays under center. So like this is all the stuff Stafford and the Rams have been good at all year. Stafford's also thrown 21 touchdowns and 0 interceptions against man coverage. If they do want to play man coverage. So yeah, I mean, and the Lions are good. They should think about being bad against the run in this game. Like they should think about giving up rushing efficiency.
What are you, Brandon Staley?
Yes, they should, because you know what they're going to do? They're going to stop the run and they're going to get shredded.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember Sunday night? I think like a month ago, the Rams went and played the Bucs.
Be bad against the run.
They should think about it. You know, we should just let them run for some yards here. Like
yeah.
But
teams can't do that though. It's against their spirit.
No. They're mentally just can't. But you remember the Bucs game on Sunday night? The Sean McVay went against the Bucs, and they've been playing all that 13 personnel. And Mayfield was like, "What are they going to do against Bucs?" And a good run defense, the Bucs, they haven't been as good. But you know what they came out and did? They just threw every damn play in the first half of that game. I think they ran 4 times in the first half of that game. That's what's going to happen here.
They had a 14% pass rate of expected, 10% on 1st and 10 in that game, which is honestly, that's actually not as high as they've been.
Can you filter first half? Can you look at first half of that?
I'd have to run. I could, but I'd have to do all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think in the first half of that game, because remember it was a boat race. Like they were just
might be able to do. All right.
At halftime,
might be able
wasn't
to
it 24-3 or something at halftime? And then they ran more in the second half because of game script. But they came out and they were like, we're going to throw all over the Bucs. Because Jamel Dean was out too in that game. Like they were like, I think McVay is coming out and attacking.
I think so too. We saw them with the Jags. They had a 15% pass rate of expected, 11% on 1st and 10. And that's like a similar type of defense where you attack through the air, better run defense and pass defense. And here it's not really about the run defense. It's about they are down their starting safeties. They started last week. They had Avonte Maddox at safety, and it worked out okay. And I was like looking into the safety situation for them, and it seemed like people were kind of like, you know, like, oh, Avonte Maddox might be like an answer for them at safety, but they're down Thomas Harper, who's been starting in place of Kirby Joseph, but he suffered a concussion in week 14. And then they have Maddox, but they still don't have Joseph. So if Joseph was back, that would like have potentially shored things up a bit. Him not being back, I think, really hurts, given that they just lost Branch and Harper. And then also, like, you know, Maddox has been like a fix for now, but we'll see. And then their cornerbacks, DJ Reed, if you look at 109 qualifying cornerbacks in yards per coverage snap, DJ Reed is 100th and Amik Robinson is 105th, and both were in full-time roles against the Cowboys this past week. So it's not just the safeties, it's the cornerback. The Rams should have really no trouble moving the ball here. The Lions pass rush also not great, 20th in quick pressure rate. So you know, the Rams have pass protected reasonably well this year. And then you look at Stafford, he's getting the ball out so quickly. And you look at like Puka and Devontae Adams, both those guys can get open very, very quickly. And especially if you have issues at outside corner and at safety. So it's just a really good setup for the Rams. Stafford's in an awesome spot. Puka, I love Puka this week. Mm-hmm. Devontae Adams, obviously a great play as well, has lots of touchdown equity, but this is a spot where I think the Rams, ideally, if you're hoping, like, you know, that the Rams go off here, it's that the Lions, Dan Campbell's calling the plays now. Dan Campbell is wearing glasses, and when Dan Campbell wears glasses, the Lions play to win. Right? This was
must-win game. Road dogs. They might not punt. Like the Lions might go for like a 4th down on their own 25 in this game.
100%. Yeah, and they're gonna, if you put the Lions down 10, they're passing. Like there's no identity bullshit here anymore. John Morton, I think, was just out of his depth, and we're back to what Dan Campbell and the Lions have felt like his entire tenure, where it's like they don't give up. They understand like win probability, you know, like, hey, we're down and we need to like maximize our possessions and start throwing. We need to take on more risks because we're in a bad spot, and if we don't take on the risk, we're going to lose. So I'm willing to be embarrassed in the pursuit of winning games. That's why I'm a big Dan Campbell fan, and I think that's how he's going to play this game. So that means they're going to be pushing, even if the Rams are scoring points. And I mean, that's just a beautiful spot to be in if you're betting on the Rams passing game. And I think specifically helpful if you're betting on Puka to rack up targets. And obviously, not to say anything bad about Devontae Adams here. I think he's a really good play, and his touchdown equity is awesome. Better than Puka's. Better than probably any receivers in the league, right? So
it is. He
it
did
is.
match their 26 end zone targets now. I did find it. So in that Bucks game in the first half, 24 pass plays, 5 runs. But they got no push back.
Wow.
In the first half, it was 24 passes, 5 runs, but they got no push. I still expect the Lions to score. So
yeah. The Rams are running their offense through the passing game. They pass to score points. Like this, they understand that Stafford and these receivers are the key to what they're doing. Kyron's been fine, Quorum's been fine, but
they're running a legit committee that they've acknowledged. They already said they want to preserve Kyron for the postseason.
Yeah, I would say the Kyron stuff maybe looked a little bit worse in recent weeks than it actually is, because you had what's the third running back? Ronnie Rivers, I think.
Yeah.
Got like 8 carries last week. Quorum's been like the exact same role week after week after week, which is not good for Kyron, but it's more like, Kyron is down to 36% of carries last week. That's fake. He's gonna be like 55-60% as long as this game is close. Which it might not be, as we'll get to in a minute. But
yeah, I still think the Lions find a way to score points, but there are more questions for sure.
Yeah. Before we go to the Lions, just want to get your thoughts on a couple things. But first, Colby Parkinson. He had 71% route participation last week. You mentioned the 13 personnel was up, which would help there. But even when it's been up in the past, we haven't seen like one tight end take a big chunk. It's usually just a rotation no matter what. So I'm encouraged by this. Now, I don't think that necessarily holds, but he's peaked previously at 53%.
Yeah.
If you give me like 60-65% round participation from a Rams tight end, I'm pretty interested in that. They've been throwing at the tight end so much.
Yeah, I mean, his targets per route are really high. Everything looks good. It's just the actual routes numbers that you need, because he's only averaged 31 yards per game. He's been, living on those touchdowns, and even on the 70% routes last week, only had 32 yards. So you do need the touchdowns still, I think, from him. And there's just volatility in like anticipating, especially with Atwell coming back, just what they do. So I don't mind it though if you're adding him on to get a cheaper piece. So the one thing about this game is actually building Stafford doubles with Adams and Puka is really hard. It actually is. And I would say, like you, I want to prioritize Puka because although Adams has the touchdown equity, that's like really all he's had at his price. Like he's not giving you a lot of tournament like spike weeks. Like he even has a game with 3 touchdowns where he only had 26 points. I say only 26, but like it's a 3 touchdound game with 26 points.
It should be,
it should be.
Gibbs wouldn't do that.
Higher. Right. Yeah, exactly. So I think if I want to prioritize Puka, because one, I think the matchup's great for him, because like Puka's been amazing against man coverage, if that's what they want to do. First of all, he's just amazing against everything. I don't give a shit. So we're gonna game where we're gonna a lot of Puka.
Stop using targets. Splits with Puka. He's just fucking awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I felt myself going down like, who cares? Like he's just. If you're gonna tell me I have a chance to get 15 Puka Nacua targets, I'm in. That's all you told. I'm in. Sold there.
Yeah.
So
100%. By the way, Puka Nacua, this is not a split. This is a zoom out. Do you know what his career? You want to take any guesses on his career yards per route run?
Well, it's gone up every year, so it's got to be. I think it's around like 3.7 this year. So it's probably, if we just do like an average, it's got to be like 3.3 to 3.4, something like that.
It's 3.11.
Okay, so I was even a little overshot it a little bit, but yeah.
But
it's gone up every year, which almost. First of all, he was amazing as a rookie. Like usually, you're like, all right, like the Brian Thomas thing, like you can't run this hot again, but he keeps getting better.
He keeps getting better. 3.11 is a 3-year career number is nuts.
You're stupid, dude. It's absolutely stupid.
Dude is unreal.
And like last week when you watched that game, it was everything. He's running a double move on the outside. He's running a skinny post. He's running a corner route. He's running a dig. You're like, the dude's got it all, man.
Yeah, he's incredible. I think he's going to smash.
And
this
he's
week.
super fun. He's a super
Yeah.
fun guy to root for too. He's like fun to watch.
He's very fun, and he does all the dirty work stuff.
Yeah. And they played him in the 13 personnel for the first time last week. It was the first time that he actually played.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
What a concept. Play your best.
I know. Get Puka Nacua on the field.
But Detroit's been giving up a ton of points to receivers too. Like I know that Pickens had we had our first like mercurial George Pickens moment last week, but Lamb and Florida both went over 100. Christian Watson and Devontae Wicks cooked on Thanksgiving. The week before that, Wandell went for 156 and a touchdown. Like I feel like we could, if we get the game environment we want. I think Puka Nacua could put up a stupid number in this game.
Me too. Yeah, no, me too. So
I would on DraftKings, I think he would be the player I would prioritize the most in lineups.
I agree. He's the one that I'm most excited about, kind of from a floor and ceiling. I know like from tournaments, we're not thinking about floor so much, but like Puka at 8,700, like you do worry a little bit with like you could kind of everything right. And well, I know what I'm saying is like with the I feel like I do have floor this week with him, even if obviously you don't want like 21 points for 8,700, but 97. You do have. Sorry,
right? Oh no, he's 97 on FanDuel. My bad.
No, he's 87. He's 87.
Yeah, he's 97 on FanDuel.
But him just like leaving a hole in your lineup in this setup is, I think, just very unlikely. So you get all the ceiling that you get from other guys. Like, but if someone like Chase could flop here, I think far more easily than Puka, where you get the targets, but they don't connect, and it's just like, it's kind of a bummer of a game. I know that can happen. I recognize it's possible, but man, there's just a lot of outcomes I think here for Nacua that are pretty good, even if he doesn't smash. Correct. And I think he smashes like a pretty good amount of the time. Lions side, I am a little nervous about Goff here. You want to talk about a guy where we can kind of predict what's going to happen based on the matchup. He's not, when you pressure Goff, it's a problem. Sometimes it's based around the blitz. He got a little bit by the Vikings, definitely by the Bucks, and the Rams don't really blitz, but he also had a horrible game against the Eagles and against the Browns. That's more driven by pass rush, and he was terrible against the Packers, who don't really blitz that much and have a good pass rush. So I don't know. Being able to get pressure with the front four against Jared Goff seems like, kind of a scary situation. And he's been super boom bust this year. Like, elite efficiency and like, oh my God, get this guy off the field type of efficiency. And then in this Eagles game, even Amon-Ra couldn't get there. So, he's been so consistent this year. So I do worry about Goff in this spot potentially melting down, and that being one of the ways that even the Rams side could fail, at least compared, fail at their prices. But I believe in Dan Campbell that he's going to kind of pass through a bad Jared Goff performance. But it's something I'm thinking about. Like, okay, there's 55 points, but how many of them are actually from the Lions? If Goff doesn't have it, and I think there's in some outcomes he just doesn't have it here.
And they were rotating left guards on Thursday, in and out. The duo was really bad too. Both Tristan Colon and Miles Frazier, they combined for 7 pressures and 4 hits. The rest of the line allowed five pressures and 1 hit. So that's still a problem spot. Interior pass rush here could be a problem. I am more open to the volatility in this spot because of what you said, what the lead in is, that I believe they're going to just be forced to throw so much in this game that I'm open to doing Goff, like builds with Goff too, as well. I'm more bullish on the wagon, but I do believe that with the Lions being 6-point road dogs in a game they have to win and are probably going to have to score points, that we just might get enough volume with enough good players in the field for him to get through. And we've seen guys like Mac Jones have good games against the Rams from a fantasy stance. Bryce Young a couple weeks ago, even
That's it,
Jacoby
though.
Brissett. Like that's it. Yeah, it's really
That's it. It's Mac
Yeah.
Jones did it twice,
Yep.
and Bryce Young had a 29th percentile success rate and was just really efficient.
Yeah, he had 2 4th down touchdown passes.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
big plays.
those were like huge swings.
Yeah,
So
but it's
yeah,
been rough. Like opposing quarterbacks have really struggled against the Rams this year. Outside
it's
of Mac Jones.
definitely more of I think he's definitely more of a volatile play. I think I'm more open to taking Goff on because you could stack him easier in terms of salary. And then get a
Yeah.
Ram back. Like, so if you try to run Stafford doubles and bring a line back, it's almost impossible. Like, you basically have to do Stafford, Nakua, and a Lion instead of Adams. Where you can do Goff, Jameson, Amon-Ra, and get.
I think you almost have to pick Adams or Nakua. Like, who has the tournament winning score of those two?
Yeah.
And both are very viable, but I think you want to pick one.
Yeah.
The double is so expensive.
It's so expensive. You can Jameson being 61 at least lets you run Goff doubles. And if you have like a 50 pass attempt game from Goff, that might get you there. The wild card is that you still have to how are you approaching Gibbs in that scenario, who also has pretty wide range of outcomes, I think, in this matchup, but could also catch 10 passes. Like,
yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, do you have the double? Like, isn't Williams the Parkinson?
He could be.
Gibbs is the Puka or the Adams, I think.
But the Rams
are
so awesome against running backs too. That's the other wild card. Like, they're second in points allowed per touch to running backs. They also don't give a ton of receiving stuff to running backs. They're only allowing 8.8 rushing points per game. So like you might need explosives from a Gibbs who can get there. I'll say the one comparison though you think you can make for Gibbs against the Rams is the CMC games.
Yeah, well that's what I don't care. Like, oh, wow, you really limited Woody Marks. Tony Pollard struggled against you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. It's Jahmyr Gibbs. CMC would be the only analog.
Yeah, and he had 8 catches both games, but he had nothing rushing either game in those.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what and Gibbs is still on that thing with CMC. Like, you got to find the marriage. It can't just be one. You can't build the whole game out of receiving, and you want it all to come together. And is this a game where you get one side of the coin and not both?
Yeah, because the Rams do have a good run defense too. So it's
not
just the pass defense. They're really strong.
And if we just get a script, like you said, where like they are throwing 50 times,
which I think is pretty likely. I think, like, I really trust the Rams to attack intelligently here. I know, crazy take. Sean McVay puts together a smart game plan, but like the Rams have like the Lions have like clear, obvious defenses on clear, obvious weaknesses on defense that the Rams have like all the right pieces to attack.
Yes.
So it's like, man, how do they not get this right? This is a layup for McVay. And then that puts the Lions in negative game script so easily. And then, like you said, like they'll go for fourth downs and play to win this game. But like, that is a more volatile strategy. It's a smart strategy. If you're an underdog, you got to take on volatility to get the win. But like, then that can snowball against the Lions. And all of a sudden they don't get that fourth down and the Rams score again. And now so Gibbs, I mean, he's an incredible player, but like the range of outcomes really is wide here. And it includes big time ceiling outcomes. He's that good, but
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess the floor is not like super low because of the receiving stuff with him, but his ability to disappoint you is pretty high here, I would say.
At this salary, at the expectation. We had the game 2 weeks ago where, like, especially because if you talk about the golf meltdown, like the Eagles game, right? Like, that's where he was still solid, but 3.2 yards per carry, got there through the receiving, got you just under 20 PPR points. That's not going to get it done on the slate at this cost. And then, the Thanksgiving game, he was, he didn't catch the ball. The only game he didn't catch the ball.
That was so weird, man.
It was weird. It was weird.
I thought I had in my head the exact game plan for the Cowboys game on Thanksgiving. Like, I was like sure we were going to see that. And then when we didn't see it, Sacrilegious was like messaging me about showdown stuff. Like, what do you think they do? I was like, I think what I thought on Thanksgiving, but it didn't happen. So like I don't know. Like it's so
And then
strange.
yeah.
And then they did have. So I don't know, but
because he's getting used in bulk since Campbell took over play calling, like
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey as a receiver. I mean, he's literally the RB2 in target share, RB1 in target rate per out run. Everything's gone massively
first
up
read
for
stuff is
him.
way up.
Way up.
I think it went from a 5 to 20%. His first read target rate, I believe, went from 5% to 20% from Morton to Campbell.
Yeah.
I'll double check that. But
I mean,
yeah,
he is his past
it's
7
huge.
games. His past 7 games, he has 4 games with over 35 fantasy points.
Yeah, and that's the correct numbers. First read target rate from 5% to 20%, which is like total afterthought.
It's Christian
to, like,
McCaffrey, but
elite
a
usage.
younger, more explosive player.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's why we've seen those spike weeks, man. So like he's a guy that's absolutely outright terrifying to fade. Like
100% agree.
Like outright terrifying.
But I don't think he's a priority either.
Yeah, because he does have a wider range of outcomes here, especially if we believe like this game is like a 50 drop back game. Like he can easily catch still 10, 12 passes.
Yeah. Like, but you know, there was projections for Gibbs heading into the Cowboys games. It was just like massive and too low. Not too low because you know, but you know, they missed low. Of course. But like,
but on the touchdown side, like when you look at that game against Cowboys, like the total yardage was 120 total yards was like, that's okay. But like he had 3 touchdowns and caught 7 passes.
Yeah.
Like, so,
yeah, right.
But even since Campbell took over, like he's had like total yardage games that have just been just in the okay range. But then he's had some massive ones.
Yeah, Gibbs is in the right now. He's like either he ranges from like elite play to like uber jam, and he's at elite play, is what I think we're kind of saying right now.
Well, I think that is he an RB1 or the RB1?
And honestly, but I don't even know if that's true because it's kind of like McCaffrey where they're sort of like flipping. Where like they're gonna be the RB1 now, but is he like you gotta play him because he's the RB1 or like, yeah, I mean, he's the RB1. And I think it's more like, yeah, he's the RB1 like he always is. It's like I think he's reached that level, kind of in tandem with McCaffrey, but a little bit less exciting. It's just more of a fragile setup than usual.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's more of a volatile environment, I think, for the Lions in general.
Are you looking at Amon-Ra as kind of the most like if you're doing golf stuff, he's definitely in there, and then you're trying to figure out Gibbs versus well, and maybe I shouldn't say golf stuff, but Lions stuff. Are you like how are you kind of ranking the Lions?
Yeah, Amon-Ra would still be priority 1 for me. If I can, because you know he's a guy that just can win. If you're talking about like in every capacity, inside, outside, came back. I couldn't even believe he played last week. To be honest,
me neither.
And it was great, and it looked awesome.
Both hurt and awesome.
But had that little, had the little mini bye now since that last game, so we expect him to be. If he played 97% or whatever of the routes, like he's gonna play here. And you have all that red zone equity with him. He's 41% of the team end zone targets, 39% of the red zone targets. So we like all that. Jameson's definitely volatile here too as well. Because remember, we're still only 2 weeks removed from a 0 target or 0 catch game. Like
he's been awesome in the other 4 games though. It's
incredible. Yeah. And he's 6,100 though. Like I'm gonna play him.
Yeah, no, I think honestly he's a pretty because he's the cheap piece in this game. So
he is.
I'm intrigued by Williams for sure.
I mean, it just comes down to salary, right? Like, because you can play Williams with another really good receiver, whereas if you do play Amon-Ra, like you still have to forego jamming in someone else along the way. So
right.
I mean, because he's still 7'9", it's not free.
Also, like this is a game like Jameson Williams is throwing a pass in this game. They're going back to it.
They're gonna do something though for sure.
Something weird's happening.
Yeah, what's the odds they run a fake punt in this game?
Oh, I mean, like fake play line should be like 2.5. I think. All right, let's go to The next game here is the Panthers at Saints. A lot less fun. We went from the most fun game of the slate to the Panthers at Saints, and kind of feel the energy draining out of the room right now. But
Yeah.
the Panthers, man, not too difficult to figure out how they're going to attack a Saints run funnel defense. Opponents have a 53% pass rate against the Saints, tied with the Vikings for the lowest in the league, minus 5% PROE against them, 3% shift to the run. And the Panthers, last time we saw them, had a 39% pass rate, their lowest of the season, but they got an upset win over the Rams. So you know that they were happy with that. We saw Chuba Hubbard get way more work than he'd had been getting, but Dowdle still did lead the team in carries. He's just not the total workhorse runner, and Hubbard's been kind of their third down guy now. So it's going to be a bit of a split. I think Dowdle's still ahead, and they've actually mentioned that, Canales has said he's still the guy, but
another
Hubbard will
guy
get work.
that is terrible in pass protection, which is why the door got opened again.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're gonna throw a ton, they're gonna run a ton and hope to be efficient in the passing game off of that. Tedero McMillan, I think, is kind of interesting here as like an efficiency play, but more for season long stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the backfield split makes it a lot harder. I think Rico Dowdle, kind of low end RB2 type of deal for season long. But there's not a lot. First of all, this is not a complicated game to figure out, and there's not a ton to talk about. Like, I think you're starting McMillan and you're probably starting Dowdle, but maybe not 100% depending on your other options.
Yeah, you might have like a Travion Henderson or something that you might just say, like, if it's going to be a split, I might go for the upside, or something like that.
Sure.
But yeah, probably that. Yeah, it's exactly how I see it too. So we that's one we just got to
move on.
We just don't have to eat the clock, man, on that range.
Yeah. All right. See, this is what I'm talking about with the Cardinals game. Do you see how the clock just stopped and now the Titans had the ball back?
Pass.
It's gonna be like that. Saints side, Tyler Shuck had his most efficient game of the season, most consistent game of the season, 60% success rate, 60th percentile success rate, 65th percentile EPA per play, which is his second highest mark. But this was part of a run-heavy game plan where they had a 47% pass rate, and they were using him, as a secondary option, getting efficiency off of that. Panthers are bad against the run. They're going to be run-heavy against the Saints. I think we probably see a similar type of approach here, where they're like trying to hide the passing game a little bit and then use it to create plays downfield, which now has Chris Olave as the high ADOT receiver. His ADOTs since their bye, actually since week 10 when they lost Shaheed, 18.4, 11.8, 14.8, 17.8. Early in the season, he was like in the 7s and 8s for the first 5 weeks. So this is a role change for Olave that I think is related to Shaheed being gone. And makes sense for the offense. He's good downfield. We've seen him in this type of role before, but it's creating a much more boom bust setup for Olave. And then you look at probably pretty overall low play volume in this game. So he's another guy where it's like more season long. I have a little bit more faith in Olave from season long perspective than maybe some others, because I think he's almost a reverse Christian Watson, where like we haven't seen how fun this could be with the deep targets.
Yeah,
maybe it gets a little.
I think
the
spot's good for him too. It's just when they do throw,
and he's 6,200 in DFS, so I don't think there's much interest there.
No, Shuck is, if the game is just better than we think, Shuck is kind of interesting because he's got 12 design runs now over the past 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and so they're doing a little bit more
fast out there.
He looked amazing on that one.
That old man speed,
And the other thing too is that he's another one of these guys where, at least early on, right at this point of his career, teams that don't create pressure, I am looking at him at least for, like, if you're a QB2 or like you're looking to punt, maybe probably not the slate, but if you're in your 2 QB leagues and stuff, like, so Carolina, obviously they're last in the NFL in pressure rate. When they didn't pressure him in the first matchup, he was 14 of 19 passing in that game for 9.6 yards per pass attempt. So I think there's some efficiency angles for him. You just do need probably a little bit coaxing for volume in this game. He has targeted Olave at a super high rate against single high and cover 3 stuff. So that's all Carolina runs. They're third highest in cover 3. So Olave in that first game, he had against just cover 3 snaps, had 4 catches for 99 yards in that game. He had 46% target rate on those snaps. And Carolina's just been bad against wide receiver ones in general. So I'm a little more bullish on Olave from definitely probably a season-long stance. He's just in a price range where we're probably not going to be
really tough.
We're just not going to be shopping. And I think a lot of builds just aren't going to be in that range. Like I'd rather play Nico Collins and go 100%. Up to Nico Collins or go down to Jameson Williams.
Agreed. Although I could see Olave scoring the most of those 3 pretty easily.
Yeah, he could.
Yeah. It's just like a lot of times he completely fails. And,
yeah.
You know, it's more like
and we're not extremely bullish
kind of high end wide receiver 2. No, I'm really not. So the one guy for DFS that's like maybe a tad bit interesting is Devin Neal, because I think he'll get plenty of work. And he's 5,300, and that is a range where, you know, if we had a good $5,300 running back, that's intriguing. What are your thoughts on him?
Last time these teams played, they ran season high 32 times. So, you know, they didn't. It's just been in a game state to hang around. Also, like we talk about the Patriots too. Like we haven't seen the Panthers. Like this is a big game for the Panthers.
Yeah,
like
it's a really big game.
How are they going to respond? Right? Like how are they going to handle this? Are they going to come out tight? Are they like how?
Yes.
Like, we don't know.
Yes.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see.
I know how they're gonna. Anytime there's like something on the line, they're gonna run.
They're just gonna try to run. They're gonna
try to hide Bryce Young as much as possible.
Yeah. So I mean, if this game's tight, Saints will be in a position to run the ball. Panthers have been a far cry from where they were earlier the year against the run. They've been really bad over the past 6 games. 29th in yards per carry, 27th in explosive run rate allowed. You're not really playing Neal for that. You're literally just starting at you're just like, this dude's gonna be out there a lot. Like,
yeah.
Hope it works out. Hopefully we get some stuff.
Do you want to close with the Titans at 49ers or the Colts at Seahawks?
Either way, it's up to you. It's just, when do you want to get this conversation out of the way?
I think we should close with the Phillip Rivers conversation.
Okay.
So
all right.
Let's do Titans at 49ers.
Should be relatively easy here too.
Should be yeah. Cam Ward's coming off of another. I mean, they won. They won against the Browns, but he was 12th percentile in EPA per play and 6th percentile in success rate. The run game won them that game. In terms of EPA per game and success rate, here's Ward, here's JJ McCarthy. It's kind of the same. So it's been bad. I don't have a ton of confidence in the Titans in any situation. The 49ers defense has not been good, and they've lost, you know, Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. So it's you're not going to recover from that. But they honestly haven't been so bad recently.
They've been fine against these streamers too. Like the
streamers have not been getting there.
The good guys have torched them.
Yes,
but the streamers haven't.
So this is Stafford, 97th percentile, and then down to Brissett, and then down to Young, and then down to Sanders. The most recent 4 bars here on the chart.
And Penix was after the Warner injury too. That's the game after, and he didn't do anything.
Yeah. So I don't have a ton of hope for the Titans passing game. And even if you did, what would you do with that hope?
Right.
There's no place to put it. Like Gunnar Helm looked like maybe he was taking over tight end, but then Chigakonkwo was back to 70% round participation, and Helm fell to 40%. So I don't. I don't want to play Okonkwo. I'd rather play Helm, but he's not playing enough. Iomenor and DK are both. I mean, it's literally been since week 9 we've seen one of them hit 1.5 plus yards per hour in a single game. It was Iomenor back against the Chargers. So I don't know. Pollard, that was cool. Set career highs in set a career high in rushing yards. So that was fun.
Yeah, I have a little lukewarm interest in DK, but I don't know how far that goes, just because the 49ers have been so bad against slot receivers, and maybe that's the outright. He can get you an explosive once in a while, but that's it. That's, like I said, mild. They're 31st in yards per target to slot receivers, 28th in touchdown rate, 45% of their receptions to wide receivers are from the slot. That's the second highest rate in the league, but it still starts the quarterback.
Yeah. They should be a negative game script, and they've generally been very pass-heavy negative game script this year. Last week, they were very conservative, but that's generally how people play the Browns, and we're seeing them. They have seven different games with a 70% plus pass rate. We're probably looking at 8 this week. So that's your one saving grace a little bit. If you were going to do like a DK PPR slot play, I think that would give you a little bit more confidence in something like that. 49ers, they have a 28.5 implied team total. Wagon of the week consideration. I mean, they could roll here.
If you're trailing points going into the late slate, you got to pivot to 49ers passing game, I think.
Oh, no. So you're coming off of your beautiful Rams stacks, your beautiful Lions stuff.
But if you're trailing, like how are you?
Yeah,
how
no,
are
I know.
You
We just talked about this with Dan Campbell. We got to be Dan Campbell too. We can't,
Yeah,
we got to go for it.
Got to go for it.
We got to run.
If you played Commanders Giants at 1 and they stunk.
Oh yeah.
You gotta go Niners passing game. I think
it's your fault for playing Kafka pieces. If you want to play Kafka, you gotta pivot off the Rams. That's how it goes. Watch the Giants get there now. Yeah, I mean the Titans have a very bad defense overall.
But they're turning into a pass funnel.
But they're turning into a pass funnel because they have the 8th best success rate against the run, and they're 26th against the pass. And so the consistent, and I think this is NFL coaches like to consistently move the ball, right? That's one of the things they talk about the explosives, but what really warms their heart is just seeing those chains move. So you can pass on the Titans and it moves the chains. And I think the 49ers are going to be able to do that pretty effectively here. Purdy has not been great in any games this year, but he hasn't been terrible either. His efficiency's never been worse than 47th percentile, never better than 88th. But that 88th mark was against the Seahawks. I kind of feel like Purdy, he's kind of due for like a really, really efficient game. And I think this could be it. So if you pivot to 49ers stuff, it ends up being good. I think Kittle is potentially a smash here. I really like him DFS. It's not a week where it's easy to fit an expensive tight end, but Kittle looks like a potential smash.
Yeah, since week 9, the Titans are allowing 3.3 yards per carry to running backs. It's number 1 in the NFL. They're only allowing 63.2 rushing yards per game to running backs, so that's second. Now, keep in context, they're never winning. It's like because the Saints are have pretty decent metrics.
Like even against the Cardinals, they weren't winning. They needed some crazy shit to happen to.
Yeah, but think about the Saints, who are they have some decent metrics against the run, but they just face so many runs it doesn't matter that they give up points.
Right.
The Titans right now are not giving up any points to running backs at all, even though they suck as a real team. They haven't allowed an RB1 score since week 8. But guess what they have done over that span? They've allowed a QB1 score every game.
Oh.
Every game. Shador Sanders just scored 33 points against these guys. Davis Mills had a QB1 game against them. Justin Herbert, in a game where Joe Alt got hurt, had 30 fantasy points against them. This is another team. They should think about being worse against the run. They should really think, because remember, they've lost all their cornerbacks.
We need to start a consulting service. Let's just go around and our presentation
let them run on you. Just let them run on you.
Don't stop the run.
Yeah,
you're not good.
Let them run on you, man. You're not good at because you're forcing teams to throw. Remember, they lost all their cornerbacks. L'Jarius Sneed's out. They traded McCreary. They traded another guy early in the year. This is a spot where I think Purdy gets real on track with efficiency, and especially downfield passing. Brock Purdy this season on throws 10 or more yards downfield, 1 touchdown, 7 interceptions. Titans on those throws, though, 31st in completion rate, dead last in yards per pass attempt, 29th in touchdown rate. They are getting cooked by wide receivers because of the stuff we talked about. They're getting absolutely flooded.
And these 49ers wide receivers, we're looking at 5,200 for Jennings. Pearsall is still 5,100. It feels like he should be
it's a bummer. He should be priced where Darius Slayton is.
Yeah. And if he was, I would jam him. I would be very excited about
I still might play him, but I don't know if
I
go that far.
could play him. I could. He's a deep threat. He's doing stuff
because he's gonna have another game where he's at least
there.
Good. But he's running. Right. He's running a lot of routes.
He's down there. When I say doing stuff, I don't mean getting targeted or
Or
catching the ball.
cardio
He's-
king,
he's
cardio
available down there,
king.
though.
But if
Yeah.
you would say like he's probably gonna at least run into something at some point this season. Like this would be the identifiable spot. This is also the problem with DFS that Sites has is that they're too slow to price guys up,
They
and
don't price them
then
down.
they don't price guys down once they get up.
Here's the other thing with Pearsall. Like, so his profile started pretty intriguing. 3.09 yards per out run.
Yeah.
1.40, 2.79, 1.84. Gets hurt, comes back. 3 bad games in a row, and he's not getting targeted.
The problem is because he played with when he had those good games.
Yeah.
No one is on the field.
Right. But also, he does get targeted downfield. He runs, when he was getting targeted, he's a true deep threat. So we know, that's kind of more his role. And that's not really like Jennings' role so much. So it makes sense that if he's in a deeper target role, that he would be more volatile. And even if he's not going to be like amazing, I don't think, but even if he's a pretty solid wide receiver, we might see a stretch like this, especially ramping back up from injury. So it's like a play it before you see it post injury thing. But and at 5,100, I'm probably not going to do it, to be honest.
It's not great.
I definitely think Pearsall is like a better play than you would think in this spot.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I would rather do Purdy, Jennings, Kittle, but I was just toying with the idea of like in like large field, if I'm going to pivot the Purdy stuff or do
it's kind of milli maker.
Yeah.
Because like Jennings for 100 more, like I'm just doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can find $100.
Yep.
So,
yeah. But yeah, Kittle would be priority. Jennings to Pearsall, large field.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. But
how much of a priority is McCaffrey for you? He's 9,000.
I just said I tried to make the case. I think he's going to be fine, but with McCaffrey, I always look at the spots because his best games this year are where he can add the rushing efficiency to his receiving. And I think this is a spot where we have to question it based on this recent run by the Titans, right? Like it feels so crazy to say that out loud. Like, but it's
now, if you
true,
come out of this meeting with the Titans and put together a bunch of McCaffrey lineups, is that insider trading? If you convince the Titans to allow them to run the ball,
oh yeah, did I convince them? Yeah,
and then you just jam McCaffrey because I agree. I mean, I think that the path of least resistance is the passing game.
I mean, he's more expensive than Gibbs.
Yeah, I'd rather play Gibbs.
Yeah, I would
rather play Gibbs.
I mean, in season, I think he's going to be an RB1. He's going to do his thing. I'm talking about
be fine.
But at 9K, you need a borderline 30-point game from him.
Which he can do. I'm not even saying he can't do it. It's more like Gibbs, we talked about the wide range of outcomes, and for tournaments, like I'm just more drawn to Gibbs where, I express some pessimism about them, but he could also go nuts. We know he can go nuts. He just has so much more juice right now than McCaffrey.
Yeah. And him getting that type of usage, like he's getting McCaffrey receiving usage, but it's a younger player, better game environment, more explosive player on a team that's going to actually do cool things.
Yep. That sums it up.
Pretty much it. But I do think if you are trailing though, like coming in, like Niners passing game stuff, I think is strong.
I agree. I think that's a great pivot. I would say the Seahawks are another pivot.
Yes. Let's do it.
And we can talk about them to close out. So Seahawks are coming off a strong game from Sam Darnold, bounce back game against the Falcons, bounce back game for JSN. Gets in the end zone a couple times, 792 and 2 on 10 targets. And I think set up for an efficient game this week because you get a Colts defense that goes from Sauce Gardner and Travarius Ward to having both those guys out now. And I'm not sure if they'll have DeForest Buckner back. Did we get word on that? Because he's been limited. But that's one where if they're down, I mean Buckner has been helpful. So he was limited. I don't know if they're going to activate him or not. Limited coming off the IR is probably a no. But he's I think they have till Saturday to do it. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, this defense is now one you want to target through the air.
Yep.
And then, I know it's the Seahawks and they have an insanely low pass rate this year, but they did have a 3% pass rate of expected.
Yeah, last week they were like, this isn't working.
11% on 1st and 10 PROE, and this was a 37-9 win over the Falcons. You know, maybe like if you give me a 50% pass rate against this defense, JSN's going to go nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just worried I'm going to get 26%, which they've already done once this year.
Right.
I didn't make that up. That they did that.
Yeah.
They did that against the Cardinals. So
I mean,
that's the downside.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm in at JSN, especially with these cornerbacks being out, and maybe last week too. Like you said, if they're running inefficiently, maybe at least they'll give up on it at some point. But we only have that happening once, and it took 15 weeks or 14 weeks for it to happen.
Right.
But it was something. It's
something.
And then
Kenneth Walker here. What are your thoughts on him?
I don't know. I mean, I wish it's really weird because he was so bad again last week. That's like, did he reopen the door? It's so hard to get a feel because they've played in such weird game scripts on like what they even really want to do with these guys, because they've been blowing teams out. And like, so there was games where he was running hot and he looked like he was going to be the clear lead guy, and then they start blowing a team out, and then they start bringing in Charbonnet. Last week he was just bad until then it got bad, and then he wasn't playing again. We still have no idea if he's like if he's getting goal line carries or not. We don't know. Like we just don't know. They haven't been in spots for it. He's just a real hard guy to gauge. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't. Do you have one?
I don't. It's just like I feel like, and this is kind of like a best ball mindset where you're like going through, you're thinking like guys that you might end up fading. Like, is this guy going to bury me? And it's hard to see how Walker buries me at this point. Like he could have a decent day at 5,600. I think he's a fine play, but I'm probably not going to play him because I'm worried about the ceiling, because anytime they get up too much, they tend to play Charbonnet. If they get up way too much, then we see other dudes. So, and he just hasn't been that good this year. You know, he's running back 31 and rush yards over expected per attempt. He's okay, like in terms of pure breakaway running. He's running back 11 there, but like the consistent chunk gains, not even like grinding out short yardage stuff, but just like, hey, can you get me 7 yards? Can you get me 11? You know, he hasn't done that all that well. And then he's running back 34 in success rate. Charbonnet's been like way worse in all of these metrics, by the way. So it's not like I'm saying they should play Charbonnet more, but they are playing Charbonnet.
They should just throw more.
They should just throw more. Yeah. So
that's what they should do.
We got excited in week 12 when he had 55% of the carries. That's his season high for the for the whole year. So I don't know. I just don't have a lot of. I'm probably not going to play him. I don't see how he's like winning me tournaments. Maybe he can fill in enough points to help me get there, but I'd almost be happy to be proven wrong, because the Seahawks are just such a frustrating team that way, where you think they would give us some kind of like, if they could just, if I lose money this week, but Kenneth Walker emerges as like an obvious running back start going forward, that I think I'd take that trade.
I don't know if I'd take that trade, but I'd rather.
Well, I didn't say how much, you know, maybe.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just like, it's just hard to get excited about the ceiling. Whereas like JSN and unlimited volume can just go nuts.
Correct.
But the one thing that would make me nervous about fading Walker is that on the other side of this game, we have 44-year-old Phillip Rivers coming back with a 14.25 implied team total.
I've never been more excited.
Talking about how there's a clip going around where he says he doesn't even watch Joe Burrow play because he doesn't like that Joe Burrow wears like fur coats or some nonsense. Like that's it. You just can't even see the guy.
That does track though. That does track.
Tracks pretty well. Yeah.
That does track.
They asked him how much he weighed, and he like very honestly was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I weigh. And then he went back and answered the question, and he's like, more than the last time I was on a football field. Because it looks like it's a lot more. I don't know, man. This is nuts. Like, what What is happening?
I cannot even believe this is happening. This is the most amazing thing that's going on, or like terrible. I don't know, but like it's there's fragmented conversations to have about this. Like obviously one is like kind of the commentary of like the state of the NFL right now. And
Yeah.
like Gretch just talked about this. Like I talk about it a lot. As the position is like kind of geared towards like post snap. There's like it's gotten to like post snap creation physical traits where it emphasized more than playing the position, and now that's like come to roost a little bit. But also like pre and post snap processing is less common because the NFL's in a spot where like they're doing so much before the snap of the football that it's hard to even teach these guys stuff because it's like not like too high coverages and cover two and like these are new things that happened. It's what they're showing you before the snap of the football.
They're disguising what they're
the disguising of it is. And what I think is really cool about this is that wasn't happening last time we saw Phillip Rivers either. So like even though that he's like knows more about football than all of us will ever have, he's seen a lot of things. He's seen so many things. Like he also wasn't playing in this era. Like you put Phillip Rivers against a Brian Flores defense right now. Like, is he in a box? Is he in a cage? He might be. We don't know. The dude hasn't played. Then we're bringing a guy that hasn't played for football for 5 years. It's not like he took a year off and came back or like had an injury. Dude, 5 years he hasn't played football. 5 years.
So
Like,
here's
fuck, dude. Have you ever seen the movie Necessary Roughness?
no.
Because you're younger than me.
Maybe a little.
The premise of this movie is there's a guy that has college eligibility left, and he comes back and plays. His name's Paul Blake. It's a movie with Kathy Ireland, Sinbad's in it.
Okay.
I'd actually recommend go watch it. It'll be fun. He comes back as a 34-year-old though. This guy's 44. He's 44. 44. He hasn't played in 5 years. We're like this. We're stretching the bandwidth of like Jacoby Brissett playing for like how far can we take this thing, right? Where like a guy that understands football could be better than like this. I can't. This is because if he outright just gets eviscerated, like there's just so much stuff here, dude. Like to unpack.
It's so I went back looked. So okay, first of all, here's Rivers 2020 efficiency. Put on the chart now. So here's Daniel Jones, here's Rivers. So Rivers from 2020 would be pretty good. Like this is where Dak Prescott is. So the last time we saw Phillip Rivers play, he was pretty damn good. Now, I think one of the other things that jumps out is here's the 2020 chart. Look where Rivers is on the 2020 chart. So it tells you the season that we're having. That was a more efficient time. Right?
Yes, man. Yes.
Everybody was more efficient back then. And so that's something, right? It's a completely different era in terms of how efficient the offenses are. Also, that this was a year 2020. Aaron Rodgers won MVP. Ryan Tannehill was quarterback 3 in EPA per game. Deshaun Watson was quarterback 6. Ryan Fitzpatrick was quarterback 7. Matt Ryan was still on the Falcons. Carson Wentz was still on the Eagles, and Matthew Stafford was still on the Lions. It's a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
You're telling me though that like Mike McDonald is not going to throw something at him where he's just like, oh shit, man, like I'm not ready for this. Like I didn't see this last time I played.
Rivers, what is the oh shit, I'm not ready for this play? Is it a pass to Taylor? Is it a pass to is there a way we can benefit from this, or do we just turn on the TV and just watch?
I think you just have to watch it, man. Like I'm not trying to do a damn thing through the Colts. If you beat me with Colts players, I will hat tip the shit out of you. Like it just so be it, man. So be it.
Reebs, how many points do you need to be down to pivot to Phillip Rivers stack?
Dude, I would play Cam Ward. I would pivot to Cam Ward before I pivoted to Phillip Rivers. Like 100%. Like it's not even a question.
How many snowflakes do you need to have before it's Rivers?
Dude, at that point, I'm not even adjusting the lineup. I'm just I'm throwing my fucking phone out in the snow. I'm throwing it in the literal snowflakes. Like, how does it give a shit, man? There's no hope, dude.
I want to see someone. If you play Phillip Rivers, if you late swap to Phillip Rivers, please screenshot the lineup and tag me.
Oh, someone's playing him. Someone's definitely playing him.
Don't start with Phillip Rivers, man. If you're going to play him, it better be a late swap.
Someone's doing it. Dude, they're going to come out and they're going to try to run a lot. And once that's not working, or
That's not
something
going to
bad,
work.
It's not going to work. But
Seahawks
they're
are the
gonna,
best
but
run
they're
defense
gonna,
in the league.
but they're gonna try it.
Like literally, they're first in DVOA and DPA against the run.
I mean, this is like there are some great storytellers in the world, and no one would have made this shit up. Like,
No. This is far fetched as hell.
What the fuck is happening?
You're like, if I were to sit in there telling a story, there'd be a story about Anthony Richardson coming back and kind of doing, you know, a little bit of a redemption arc to close the season, right? You'd never be like, no. Anthony Richardson, he had an exercise band take out half his face, and now he's on IR. So we're going to Phillip Rivers.
They used a draft pick on Riley Leonard.
Yeah, Riley Leonard. Well, Riley Leonard, what he's legit hurt, right, or not?
He practiced in full again today.
No,
he makes this stuff.
I didn't realize he was in full.
Dude, I mean, you can't. Since Wednesday he's practiced in full. Like,
oh my god.
Because the initial sell was all the quarterbacks got hurt. He knows the system.
I saw that they were preparing him to start, and it was just like, and it was clear like this is happening. But I mean, never then checked in on Riley Leonard. I thought he would, yeah.
No, and he doesn't come and do this unless he's playing.
No, exactly. He was told you're starting, which I mean, they were asking him about like football and stuff. He's like, you know, I recognize that it's not the same as being out here, but like I watch a lot of football. I have Red Zone on. I was like, so do I, dude. It's not. I mean, I know it's Phillip Rivers and he's a professional quarterback, but like Rodgers was talking about it, and he's like, you know, I hope it's like getting on a bike. You know, I hope it's like riding a bike for him. Excited to see him back and everything. But is it like riding a bike?
No,
I don't think it is. I mean, I have no way of knowing.
Well, we talked about it with Lamar and Burrow. Like I used to do an article for Roto World that talked about like players coming back from injury and like quarterbacks even in season when they would miss multiple weeks, they would be rusty because the position is just such a live fire position. Like you can't rep for it. You can't unless it's until you have live ammunition. Like it's just it's the structure of the beast of the position. And like this dude's playing 5 years and he's going against the best defense, one of the best defenses in the NFL. It's not even like he's facing the Cardinals or something. Like he's on the road in Seattle.
Yeah.
Like what is happening?
The other thing. No, go ahead.
I'm awestruck by this whole situation. I'm excited though. Like dude. This year the Seattle Seahawks allow 6.2 yards per pass attempt without pressure when they don't pressure the opposing quarterback. Like number 1 in the NFL. Like that's when they don't get a pass rush.
This is a team that we would not give the Brandon Staley presentation to. By the way, they're actually good. It's good that they stopped the run because they also stopped the pass.
I mean, I am flabbergasted by this whole turn of events, though. Like,
it also the energy around Rivers is just like it's so. I'm worried that like it has the feel of what it is, where he wasn't on this team. He's literally at home. And like he's like, man, I'd love to just like play a football game. Like I'd love to just get back out there and rip it and just like be around the guys and you know be back in the NFL. It'd be so awesome. And then like somehow it happens and he's just like, this is so sick. I'm here. But like, can't you see him just getting absolutely wrecked and being like, all right, later. Like it didn't work. Like I'm not sure we get more than 1 week of it. This might be the only one. I could go back to Leonard next week.
The literally only thing I can think about is that it's holiday season and this dude has 10 kids and he's like, I gotta get the fuck out of the house.
How many texts do you think he's gotten about Christmas presents? He's like,
I gotta get out of here, man.
He's just catching up on all the gift buying after practice.
Do you think anyone's told him no, don't do this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know how old his kids are, right?
He's got grandkids.
I know he's got grandkids. So yeah, so his oldest kid, who now is a father himself, would have enough. You know, he would know.
Like, are they excited for this? Like, our 40
shouldn't be.
Like, no.
If my dad my dad is much older than Philip Rivers. But if my dad was like, hey, I'm gonna go play for the Colts this week, I'd be like, oh, Dad, I don't know if that's a good idea. And they'd be like, yeah, no, it's cool. We're playing the Seahawks. I'd be like, oh, Dad, the Seahawks? You can't do that. You've got like you're a great. I have a daughter. Yeah, I need you around, man.
Like, we need you, man.
We need you.
Or the only other thing I can think of too is that like he has started to pay college tuitions and he's like, all right, like okay.
Come on.
I did not save enough
Come
money.
on. You think this is a financial thing?
I got 10 more of these to put there. He put one kid through college and was like, oh, hold up. Hold on a second.
The affordability crisis is really out of control.
It's so expensive right now. It's so expensive right now.
These kids, man. Grandkids, I wasn't prepared for the grandkids.
Oh, like my kids want to go to like Purdue, like shit, man. Like fucking 80 grand a year. Like,
hey Shane, you think maybe I could get a start this week?
Also, like, did they ask like how this started? Like, were they in conversation all year? Did he reach out to them?
So they're like best friends, as far as I understand. Shane Steichen and Rivers. So I think they probably text and like stay in touch.
I can do this, man. I can do this.
I think he's probably been telling him he could do it for a while.
He's literally taking Daniel Jones's number too.
It's jersey number. Yeah. Dude, think how dark that is. He was about to get paid, and then like 3 weeks later, he's giving up his jersey to Rivers. It's a bummer.
It is super bummer. And I love that Cam Newton interjected himself into this too, of why he wasn't asked. Like,
he was like pissed he didn't get a call.
Buddy. They can just bring Anthony Richards back at one eye. Like, buddy.
I don't know, man. I think if you got the Colts with Philip Rivers and I got the Colts with Cam Newton, I think I win.
You might.
I think I win.
I think I might take your side too.
I would take Cam Newton over Philip Rivers right now.
I like I said, I'm absolutely flabbergasted that we're even talking about this.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's literally like it's like a Disney movie shit, dude. Like someone wrote a script. Like this is like it's not helping the simulation cost. Like people
dude, seriously, right?
It's not helping the cost.
I don't want to believe in simulation theory, but like then stop. Then like the world needs to like cut it out. Like if you want me to think that you're real, you better start.
There's a lot that's happened in the last few years of humanity that is like we gotta reevaluate a lot of shit, man. Like I'm starting to believe. I'm like,
no, I have questions.
Yeah, listen, man. I'm approaching my mid-40s. Could be. It's like I'm just trying to run the clock out. I think at this point, I don't even know.
Approaching your mid-40s, you better give Shane Steichen a call because they've got a job opening.
Well, Rivers turned 44 this week.
44.
I mean, I'm 43. So,
all right,
you
could drive the facility.
Yeah, I will say though, I went to nationals, and I played 35 and older at 40, and we won it all. And I was not faster at 40 than I was in my 30s. So
it tends to go that way.
Good luck, Phil. I know he doesn't think he has to run, but buddy. And then you talk about this offense, which has all been like RPO. So they'll probably just run back the Flacco shit that they tried to do last year. But like, what are you doing here? If you're Tyler Warren, and I've seen people be like, "Well, Philip Rivers threw to the tight ends." I'm like, yeah, he threw to a bunch of Hall of Fame tight ends, but like Tyler Warren's already been pretty mediocre the past month, and his whole game was predicated on the RPO stuff. That's probably not in the offense. You playing any wide receivers against the Seahawks? We were going to question the Seahawks wide receivers if Daniel Jones was playing.
100%.
And then we've already seen Jonathan Taylor run cold against good matchups the past month. He's got one RB1 scoring week the past month, and it was against the Falcons. So what do you want to do here? If you beat me with Colts,
I said I would trade losing money in DFS for the Seahawks to figure their running back situation out. I didn't mean that. I'd much rather win money. But if the Colts beat us, I will join you in a hat tip. That's just I mean, the Colts just going nuts this week would be just it would be really I mean, think about the conversation next week if Philip Rivers actually does it. I mean, Rich, he could make the Hall of Fame off of this game. Like this, like he has a Hall of Fame borderline case, right? He's kind of a bubble. He's kind of on the bubble.
He is.
If he beats the Seahawks, I think he's in.
He's automatically in.
They
actually because if he plays, they have to reset his clock. I think they just waive it. It's like
they just waive it. They put him in the next day.
They're just like, dude, yeah.
Ballot while he's still playing.
You realize too, the last month they're at Seattle, then they play the 49ers, which whatever. Then they play Jacksonville, and then they're at Houston again. Like
I know Houston's messed up, dude. Like Houston, they better play Leonard for that game, or Richardson if he's available. Hopefully,
but it's like not even like there's not even a spot here where you're like, this is awesome. Like this.
No, Jaguars is okay. I mean, it's not. You're right. It's not like a gimme, but it's not harrowing. He gets the Seahawks and the Texans. That's crazy. Although, again, I don't know that he does. Like, I legitimately think he might retire after this game. That's how bad this could go.
Just absolutely.
That's the range of outcomes.
It was the only way
to retires
end
tomorrow
this,
or Hall of Fame tomorrow.
We couldn't have done this. It had to be the last thing we talked about.
Yeah. All right, I gotta go.
Yeah,
this has been a blast.
Yeah, well, we kept it 3:30 with 3 extra games. We did better.
We did better. I think. Right. Most by any other standard, this would not be good. But by our standard, we're proud of ourselves. All right. Let the people know what you got going on, the worksheet, Sharp Football Analysis.
Yeah, writing up every game of the week over there. So check all that DFS write-ups, all the same stuff.
Check out Legendary Upside for the walkthrough and for your playoff best ball needs. We got the sidekick rolling, sim driven, doing some really cool stuff. Zach shared a team the other day where he took he had a Rams build, and the sims were suggesting Amon-Ra St. Brown as a very strong pick for that team. Why do you ask? Because when the Lions make the playoffs, the Rams are less likely to have the bye. So that team just smokes in DraftKings, where it's only 1 of 6 to advance. That's so cool. we help you do teams that are built in an intelligent way that way. You can check it all out over at legendaryupside.com/sidekick. But we'll be back here next week to talk through the week 16 DFS and fantasy football slate for the main slate of games. See you then. Good luck in week 15, and good luck to Philip Rivers.